Okay, great, wonderful. The sound is muted. Thank you for letting me know. Professional streamer, WhickTV in the house. Welcome, 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 one and all, to yet another episode of WhickTV. It's across ideological space where we come together to talk about issues both political and cultural, from the silly to the serious. And gang, we've got a show for you tonight. It's two shows, in fact. The first show, the better show, will be Soy Pill has recently had some words to say, and I've decided to convene a council to talk about it. And then at 11 p.m. Eastern, we're going to be debating with Andrew Wilson. He won't box me, but he will debate me, apparently. And we're going to be having a conversation about Christian nationalism. Apparently, he has to save the reputation of Christian nationalists after what me and you, Chris, did to them on Monday. So that should be fun. Tune in for that. But we're here to talk about something different right now. Soy Pill, you have recently accused me of having incel adjacent rhetoric. Can you please elaborate? And then we'll kind of discuss. And when the other people get here, we'll add them in.
Sure. So I wouldn't call myself an incel expert because I am not one. I just, for fun, would browse incel forums back in 2018 and 2019 because I thought it was funny. And this all kind of started because you shared a meme, which I'm not sure if you knew about being incel, but let me screen share here and let me know if you guys can see this.
Give me a second. Yep, there it is.
Right. So this is like stuff I would see every day on incel forums. Now, just to be clear, before I even get too deep into this, I don't think you're an incel. I think you have plenty of sex, Wick. And I also don't want to like disparage your character on this. This is more of a, hey, I see someone I care about kind of treading into territories that I don't like. But I even think on the best of days, you probably wouldn't fall into inceldom because you're smarter than that. I've seen you talk about things like, hey, sometimes men are bad, sometimes women are bad. It's not this like one-sided thing. So you're not an incel, to be clear. But I think you're pushing people in a bad direction, especially with stuff like this. So to be clear, this meme is an incel meme. This guy here who is the prototypical, it's over for you, you'll never have sex because of how bad you look. His name is Saint Black Ops 2 Cell. There's like this big history and lore where they just found some ugly guy they considered a one and said, there's no such thing as fixing this. You will never, ever, ever get laid. Turns out this guy has a girlfriend and totally got laid. So that meme fell apart really quickly. But this idea of, oh, if you're ugly, you can't just say, hey, you have to be this hot model. That's when I started perking up my ears a little bit like, all right, Wick, what are you doing? Now, aside from occasional doomer posting, which may or may not have anything to do with women, but you can elaborate on that. It appears to me, and especially in our conversation last week, that you kind of talk about some of these things in ways that are, in my opinion, very harmful. You say, hey, I'm lamenting at the fact that men can't express their feelings. Women will shit on them for it. And then when I ask, like, well, okay, how do we fix this? Who should we drive people to fix men? You say, go watch like Xerxes. And for those of you who don't know, Xerxes is a mutual of ours who is like a black pill poster. He makes videos called The Incels Are Right. He makes videos where he says, fitness is the only way for men to improve their appearance. We should listen to incels more. Women choose bad men. And this is all part of like this incel bubble of rhetoric that I think you take points from sometimes. So I want to make sure that when you have these points, you're kind of moving away from the black pill, more towards the, hey, things suck, but here's how we can make it better. Here's how we put energy into fixing young men. That's what I'm worried about. And I just want to save you, buddy.
Save me from myself. Well, before I give my opinions on this, I do want to hear from the council, okay, that I've gathered. We've some great people here today. We got Mooncake, we got Dev, we got Stardust, we got Rabid Wombat, and we got Charlie. What are your thoughts here? Let's start with Charlie, and we'll just kind of go around real quick. What the accusation has been levied, the evidence has been presented. What are your thoughts?
I feel like on the Qpop Royale debate thingy that we had, you made a couple of points that seemed a little bit incel-y to me, which surprised me because again, I don't see you like that. I don't see you as incel-y. I think one that stuck out to me the most was the discussion of men's feelings not being taken seriously, which I agree with. I agree that men are, not are encouraged to be unemotional and to not express their feelings, and I think that that's bad. But I don't think that women are solely or even primarily to blame. Um, I think that that is a part of patriarchy, and I think that men are typically the ones that punish other men the most for expressing their emotions, and I do think that women very much participate in patriarchy by discouraging men from showing their feelings. Um, so that was my
Okay.
those are my thoughts. But also the thing about like I think about like men who are not conventionally attractive never being able to get laid. I look around me and all I see is evidence to the contrary. I see men that are frankly horrifying to look upon with girlfriends and wives and who are very much loved, because the thing is that all of us deserve to be loved, and beauty is subjective at the end of the day. I have taste that I think many of my friends have described as unusual. I typically don't go for people that are conventionally attractive, um, and so again, those are my thoughts.
We'll get into it, I'm sure. I don't want to give my opinions too much before we get around the room. Well, let's hear from Mooncake real quick.
Okay. I think I told you, Wick, that I was more, I guess, devil's advocate on this one because I do genuinely see both sides. So, like, the meme itself, do I think it's like pretty harmless? Yeah, like, it's nothing I'd really write home about. Like, I do think there's some truth to it. But I think that comes more from like a pretty privilege. So, for men and women, where it's kind of like if you are unfortunately like ugly or not conventionally attractive, you probably are treated poorly. I do think there's definitely truth to that. But do I think you're incel adjacent? I don't know for sure. Like, I don't think you are, but I guess I have to listen to the rest of the panel to kind of see
You're
where that goes.
okay. You're on the fence. You're a centrist for
Yeah, I'm
this.
like on the fence about it.
Okay. Dev, I sent you the evidence that he presented. Okay, since you missed it. You've seen this, though, before. I showed you this earlier when I was bugging you to be on the panel. So what are your thoughts on this, Dev?
There's nothing wrong with it. I don't see what the fuss is.
That's fair enough.
That's basically it. I mean, it's a meme that I've seen around pretty much everywhere. There's obviously some truth to it. When you say incel adjacent, I assume you don't mean involuntary celibate adjacent, but rather the mindset that comes into being an incel, which is a different thing. Either way, I don't see a problem with it.
Yeah, no, in and of itself, just to be clear, I don't think that Wick posting this makes Wick a terrible person. I don't even think this meme is horrible. I think, in fact, there is truth to it. And in much of incel rhetoric, there is some truth, right? Like, if you're attractive, it will be easier for you to approach women. That's just true. The problem is the kind of bitterness towards women that you see that comes out of this. Like you said, people who have sex absolutely indulge in this rhetoric. This is not a incel, literally, if you are involuntarily celibate. It's just a huge overlap between people who can't get laid and people who are very bitter towards women. And I think that this, along with other things I've heard from Wick, kind of indicate this bitterness towards women rather than this understanding of how society works and how we need to move forward from it.
Okay. I just haven't seen Wick be that bitter towards women, to be honest. So
Fair enough. I haven't either, but I guess we're going to find out as we go. Ravid, what are your thoughts here?
Well, as a Gen X white Anglo-Saxon Protestant liberal who married an immigrant Asian woman, I see nothing wrong with what you're doing. You speak to me, my brother. And, you know, if you look at the Allied soldiers in World War II, they were literally Nazi adjacent, but we were happy they were. They were on the front lines combating the evil and saving the free world. And I think that's what you're doing, sir. I think when you say that handsome men are advantaged, I think it's true. I think the only place that I might cede a little ground to soy is that you would have to be careful where you're sending people, because these topics, we need strong voices that are speaking in a rational way, that aren't coming from a place of anger, a place of blame, that instead see women as our allies, as they have been for thousands of years. They are our partners combating natural and societal oppression. And I think you're in that camp. So my only contention would be if you're looking at someone like Xerxes, you need to look at the bulk of their content and see when I'm handing off these people that I've convinced that I'm a rational actor, I need to make sure that people who are going to piggyback on that trust are worthy of it. But overall, I think you're doing well.
Fair enough. Well, I appreciate that. And yes, the pact, the ancient accord between men and women still is strong today. It is under attack, but we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. Stardust, are you here yet? You with us?
Yeah, I'm here. Hello.
Hi.
No camera today?
No, I will be on camera shortly. Sorry. Okay. So what I will say is that this meme is not necessarily terrible. But I mean, it's kind of funny. It reminds me of the you guys remember the HR comic where it's like there's a fat guy who's saying something and somebody says call HR, and then there's like the attractive guy and he says something, and then the woman is saying like, "Oh, you're so sweet." So it kind of reminds me of that. It doesn't seem like the most terrible thing. In fact, my earliest memories of Wick are Wick making jokes about how he is the marriage destroyer of Twitch politics. That men of America should be scared of him because he's going to ruin their marriages. Which it's true, you know. I do recognize that, and you know, I think the fact that Wick is able to go above and beyond with with his efforts. For example, he used to, back in the day when I used to host panels, he came dressed up as a dog one time. Okay, now what woman is not going to find that attractive? I mean, honestly, you know, like like yeah, isn't that like a whole genre for women? I don't know. Anyway, for white women specifically. Anyways,
Oh,
so
shit.
sorry, I shouldn't have gone there.
No,
Sorry,
it's
that was
fine.
no. Anyways,
No, that's pretty
Wait,
base.
what?
Keep going.
Don't stop.
We're with you. We're with
Yeah.
you.
I mean, if I'm surprised that you didn't get a whole bunch of inbox messages after you dressed up like a dog. That should have been immediately, really. But anyways, so one thing I will say is I just hope Wick has some self-love for himself, and really all of this incel rhetoric about like how you know, there's lookism and things. It applies equally across the board. It applies to women too. You know, women, you know, if you're an average looking a woman, you know, you're not going to probably get approached as much as a good looking woman. And also men
Charlie,
can
is
get
that true?
Charlie,
Damn.
Whoa.
Hold on. We're talking
Well, okay,
about
hold
me.
on. Actually, let me actually speak on this.
That
Let
was
me
pretty
speak on this.
incelish, sir.
Let me, because Soy Pill and I have actually talked about this. If you guys don't know this about me, I am detransitioned, which means for about 10 years of my life, to the average straight man, I looked like a chubby butch lesbian, sort of this amorphous androgynous creature thing. Very rarely got spoken to by straight men. Gay men would talk to me, and then I'd open my mouth and it'd be like, "Oh, you know, like what
that's
is that?"
exactly my point, right? Men don't even
right.
treat you like you're a human
No.
being worthy of being
They
talked
would literally, yeah, they wouldn't speak. They either would ignore me, or they'd treat me like a bro, which rocked, or they would want to punch me in the face. So while it
Yeah,
maybe wasn't like,
especially
yeah,
men can get away. Like, if we're gonna be real here, like this whole incel rhetoric is completely flipped upside down. Okay, men can get away with looking average. Women cannot as often get away with looking average. If you are average or below average as a woman, you do not get treated as a human being worthy of anybody's time by the male sex. That's my point. And also let's be real. Men, average and below average men, can also compensate by education and attaining you know, wealth and attaining education and building a life for themselves, whereas below average women cannot compensate for that because most men don't really value that. They value youth and they value good looking women.
I just want to point out that this panel was supposed to be about Wick and his rhetoric and the problems with men, but women, as often they do, have made it about women.
I was gonna do. I told you ahead of time what I was gonna do when I came in here. Okay, I told you ahead of time. You knew. If you didn't want me here, you didn't have to.
We love you. We love you, Stardust. We like you here. We want you here. But I do
Wick,
think
to be clear, what I wanted to do was kind of what Stardust was getting into, which is bring up some topics like this and see what your position is on them. And I want you to answer these honestly, like from the bottom of your heart, not like in
Okay,
mind
I'm
thinking
ready.
if I say it wrong, I'll become an incel, or I don't want to align with the incel. Like just
I'm not
say what
worried
you really
about being
feel.
canceled for my honest answers. Give me what you got.
Sure. So like, for example, who do you think has it worse in society, men or women?
In what way? In what
Just in general. Like if you
venue?
were to ask, like, do women have it on easy mode, as some people say?
In many ways, yes, and not always though. And this is why it's hard to answer this question like with a yes or a no or with a simple answer, is because there are absolutely places in life where women have it much easier than men, but there are also places in life where men don't have to work as hard. Like I didn't have to like put on my makeup or do anything, right, to get on stream and to be taken seriously.
Yeah,
But
meanwhile, I'm putting my makeup on.
I
Yeah.
know.
Okay.
But at the same time, a woman who is even slightly attractive, even 5 or above, will get a lot more attention and a lot more. They have a higher floor for streaming and a higher floor for people attention. If I, as I am, put out that I'm having a bad day and I need help, I'm going to get mocked in a way that women are not.
I don't know about that one.
Yeah,
I
I will
think
say about
Yeah.
I will say about
I think as a social media content creator, like at least for me, when I put out if I'm having a bad day, I think I get a lot of people ridiculing me. Like a
Yeah.
I think it's
lot.
racism for you though, Stardust.
It might be
specifically.
racist. I don't know.
All right. So
I will
Wick,
say that for like female streamers, I will say that on Twitch specifically, a woman who's decent looking can absolutely get to partner easier, but there is also a reason that the vast, the like top 100 streamers, 99 of them are male. And that's because while it's easier to get that little kick at the beginning, it's very, very hard to go anywhere beyond that.
The ceiling is
Because
lower for
Yes.
the
Yeah.
floor may be higher for women, but the ceiling is significantly lower.
yeah, the
yes,
attention
it's
they're
very hard
getting
to
is
grow.
not particularly positive or valuing of who they are. It's just, oh, they're attractive and I'm
But-
going to watch them.
hold
And it
on.
kind of stops there for a lot
What
of
do you
people.
Right,
think
and
the
I feel like
intention
the
that I
attention-
get? Do you think it's mostly positive or valuable?
I mean, it's much more to do with the things you say than how you look. No offense, but I guarantee
Hold
you,
on,
I
do
would
you not
guess
think I
less
get
than one?
Oh,
I guess less than 1% of the audience is watching because they want to fuck you. I would guess that versus any of
fair
these female
enough.
streamers you're talking about.
But if you
I
think
mean,
I don't get
also
comments
just
on my
somebody-
looks, you would just be.
I didn't say
Sure,
that.
sure, but yeah, okay.
People
Of
pay him
course,
to take
as
his shirt off.
somebody who's been on Twitch for a while, or I used to be on Twitch for a very long time. When I first was on Twitch, I didn't even get the positive, attractive attention. I just had people coming into my chat saying, "Wow, your nose is really big," or like, or say, like early days of Twitch, like, not early days, but like this was several years ago, and the environment was a little bit different. But I just had people saying my nose is really big. I had one guy saying that my nose is so big he wants to sit on it. He wants to like slide down on my nose, like how big it is. It was to the point where like I started thinking like, do I have a big nose? Because I don't think I have a big nose. I never thought about that before. I've had like every horrible comment about my appearance said about me. Like I'm horribly fat, a horrible, like disgusting, disgusting bitch. I am just horribly unattractive. All like everything, right? And so like as a woman online, I think you just it is the default to get commented on your looks. It is the default.
Yes,
You know?
but Wick does too. Like men do too. Men get
But
comments on
not
their
even
looks all
close to the
You're
same
just
degree.
called
These
an
are like
Ewok in
disproportionate,
last
like
Like,
to,
it's
to
like,
an
it's not even-
unfathomable way.
Not even the positive attention is good. There's a man that self-publishes Amazon fan fiction about raping and murdering me and a bunch of my female streamer friends. Multiple of my streamer female friends have stalkers, like people that have been trying to like track them down, followed them across the country. There was a dude who would come into my stream every day for a year and I'd block him every time. And he would say, this is not me saying it, pulling out it's reverse racism card, but he would be, I'm an Indian man, all white women are whores, that's what we think of you, I want to see you get destroyed by BBCs. Like, even if it's positive, it's people
Yeah.
being attracted to me or whatever,
Pretty
it's not fun. I don't
Yeah,
like
the
it.
the spectrum is wider in terms of you will get much more lauded because of
Yeah.
the higher threshold of attractiveness, but you also get stalkers and death threats because of the attraction. And I don't think men experience this even close to the same degree.
Yeah.
But
also
I'm not
I-
saying
I
there's not
agree with that,
no
yeah.
floor. Like
No.
like there are parts of pretty privilege that are absolutely true. I've had girlfriends that just get free shit all the time and discounts. Like this happens for sure. The point is, when I ask you who has it easier, the incel rhetoric is women live life on easy mode because all they have to do is make themselves attractive and life will be given to them.
But that's
Meanwhile,
not what I
men have it
said.
harder. I know. I'm not saying you say this. This is why I asked your opinion on it. And
Okay.
I don't think you're an incel. Obviously, I would never think that your opinion's going to overlap one-to-one on this. But when you talk about the problems that men have, it seems to be in a way that's framed that women are causing them, or that women are ignoring them, or that like somehow this is a bitterness and a battle of the sexes and not a societal problem that's just affecting men poorly that we need to alleviate, and that that women also have these similar problems.
Do you not? Well, first of all, do you not think that women are responsible for some of the problems in society, though?
Women do nothing wrong ever.
Or at least
Right? No, of
complicit,
of
you know.
course.
Or at lea-
Yeah, no,
of
of course. Like in the same
So-
way Charlie
so
said, look,
this is
if a woman ignores man's problems or demeans them for crying or showing their feelings, even though I think that is part of violating a patriarchal structure of, hey, men have to be this, and if you deviate from this by crying, you're not a man. That doesn't matter. The woman is perpetuating that by saying, "Oh, fuck you, I'm not attracted to you anymore."
But
That's
this is-
still her fault.
This
right?
is my
So-
problem with kind of like the criticisms that you're levying here, is that I do bring up issues that I see that I think women perpetuate. I also bring up issues that I see that I think men perpetuate. But when I bring up women and I say, hey, women are causing problems for X, Y, or Z reason in this, and they're not
Sure.
acting correct, then people say, well, you shouldn't say that. That's incel adjacent. You shouldn't
Right. So, like,
just this.
could you give an
But
example of
I
that?
also
What
promise you-
problems do women cause?
Well, I do think that women don't take men's problems as seriously as they should.
But women
could you-
aren't causing those issues.
Okay,
Hold
well,
on.
here's
problems in
one.
particular?
Pick up
So
Rabbit, go ahead.
we have demanded that women be given access to the workplace, that equity initiatives place them in positions of power, and that they earn a lot more. But we haven't resolved the issue that women don't really like to date down. And there's two sides. There's two sides to that. Men have been taught to be self-conscious about their partner making less than or making more than them. But women very frequently say that they will not date anyone shorter than them. And then the other one is that they will not date anyone that doesn't make as much money as them. And that if we are going to fix for women that they are going to be compensated equitably to men, we have to change that social stigma, tongue twister, that women should be dating up instead of down. There are far more wealthy men, C-suite men, that have waitresses that become their spouses than there are C-suite women having waiters become their
Right.
spouses.
Well,
So I want to be very careful here.
Well,
So
I do
you,
want
what
Moonfake
you've just
to get a
described.
chance, right?
Well, okay, go ahead.
No, it's okay. No, I was gonna say, sorry, I hate that dating down thing. I don't think women have a problem with quote unquote dating down if you're like talking about salary per se, but I
Are
think
you
there's
just
still an
missing that
expectation.
concern?
No, I'm not missing it, but I think there's an expectation on men where it's like, okay, even if they are bringing in like a lot less money, they're not helping with like the housework or chores. They're expecting women to work, to do the housework, to take care of the kids and do all these things on top of not really being a provider. And I think now a lot of men talk about wanting to be providers, but they can't actually do it. So it really is at the end of the day the fault of men, and then they're just kind of pushing that blame onto women.
You guys should go to TwitchCon. You're gonna see beautiful rich women with ugly boyfriends who do nothing and make no money. It's like every hot e-girl you can think of has a worthless boyfriend who is ugly and mean and does nothing with their life and does
Wait,
nothing to
I have a
make their
different
girlfriend's life
counter to
better.
this real quick, Charlie.
I'm
It's
not kidding.
Hold on,
but
whose
in
I would
fault
never
is
hold.
that?
I would never hold up
but it-
streamers as being typical
Yeah, and
representatives.
also-
No, they're
Yeah,
not, but I'm just
general,
saying it's a
it's not just
really
a streamer
weird
thing, though.
phenomenon. It's a really weird phenomenon to see it.
Streamers
It's
very
not-
It's not
important
necessarily a
ones.
weird
Or-
phenomenon,
Let me
though.
get
It's-
Let me get ordered. Because in general, I think you're right, Rabbit Wombat, and that's why I want to be careful. Because the idea that women in general are always looking for that security and dating up, because since 1980s, they couldn't hold a bank account or a credit card or whatever, or before that. That makes sense. That is something that I want to reverse. The incel adjacent rhetoric doesn't start there. It starts when you complain about that and say, I don't like that women won't settle for less. And then that kind of ends there. And you can talk about how that needs to change. But the problem is when you face those issues in real life, this is where it should start and end as a complaint. Like, oh, I've just found a woman who has unrealistic standards. Whatever, gone. And that could be something you complain about. The inceldom comes when it's this repetitive rhetoric that comes up very frequently. And this is the problem. This is the problem. This is the problem. And you're not really concerned with the fact that on an individual basis, you can find plenty of women who don't do this. You will not have a problem finding them if you put work into yourself and just go out and meet people. Like, there's a smaller subset because in general, like you said, women do this, but talking about it like this societal issue that's women's fault and not, hey, I'm going to be the change I want to see. I'm going to go out and meet people who don't have these standards. I don't give a fuck if you're, 5'10" and I'm 5'7", I will still date you. This happens all the time. And by making it this problem that's like, hey, the conversation kind of stops and ends here. And this is the society's problem. And society is the reason why I can't find a girlfriend, or all these women have too high expectations. That's the inceldom rhetoric where it's like, oh,
but I don't give that
and doom
rhetoric.
pill and black pill.
Yeah.
I don't give that rhetoric. I don't say that you have no hope, ladies in general, or gentlemen who is watching me, who acknowledge the problems that I see, not just in the dating market, but with women in general and with men themselves. My message to them has never been, give up, you're not going to make it.
No. If it was, you would be an incel, to
I
be
have
clear.
said over and over again, there are ways, even if you don't look as good as others, that you can make yourself more attractive to the opposite sex, that you can pull, right? That you can pull a woman who's beautiful, who you will love and who will love you. But we have to acknowledge that there are issues and problems that are unique to men that, yes, women not only perpetuate, but in many cases cause. And I think that
what is a unique problem to men that women cause?
I think that one of the unique problems that men have in modern dating is on dating apps, right? I think that women, it might not be their fault, right? But they are absolutely contributing to a problem where they are selecting for certain features that men just can't compete on, right? Like, men do terribly at dating apps for the most part.
But
like,
would you say that women... Hold on, this is another one of my questions then. Do you think women in society need to be more charitable to men that they're dating? Like, they should lower their standards?
Well, those are two different questions. Yes, I think they should be more charitable to men they're dating, but no, they shouldn't lower their standards. So charitable so for example, what I mean by charitable to men is like, if you're with a guy and you like the guy and maybe he messes up sometimes, you should have some charity for him. Maybe he does something you don't like and you got to forgive him sometimes. But I think that for men too,
but this is agendered
Yeah.
advice. But when I say, should women be lowering their standards, not like, should they care about whether or not you're taller than them, or whether or not you make more money, or whether or not you look good enough, in the way that on these dating apps, they do select for the highest degree of attractiveness.
Women would be happier if they did. There was a book called Learn to Settle for Mr. Right Now, not Mr. Right. It was written by a woman, and she did an experiment where she looked and she asked men, what are your qualities that you're looking for in women? And they'd list 5 or 6 qualities, right? And they'd vary, pretty generic stuff. And then she asked women the same question, and they had lists 30 items long, right? And there does, again, this is because women are more desirable. They're the ones who are the choosers and selectors in the dating marketplace. We get that, right? But at the same time, their standards are exceptionally high in many cases.
Do you think they're too high?
In many cases, yes. I think someone who's looking for 6 figures, 6 what was it? 6 inches, 6
pack,
figures,
6 figures, 6 inches.
Oh, yeah. 666.
Yeah, the 666. I think that, okay, like, if you can get that, by all means, but most of y'all ain't getting that.
Group of women. I think it's just like, that's a very small group of women who I do believe are looking for those things. And most of the time, I don't think men are going to be attracted to those women. It's probably, I'm going to be honest, rich men who are going to be dealing with those types of women. It's not going to be like a regular schmegular guy. And I feel like I could like pick anyone out of a crowd and be like, she's probably dating down if we were to consider it. And I also think dating apps is not really a good example because if I'm being honest, if I'm on a dating app with all the choices, why wouldn't I pick the guy who's 6'6", makes over
Yeah,
$150,000 a
it's
year,
not
and like
exactly.
who
It's
likes
not
to
something you've
travel?
done that's immoral. I'm not trying
Yeah,
to
but I'm
posit
just saying
that.
like it
But
just it
he asked
kind
for
of
a
makes
unique
sense in that way.
just real quick. He asked for a
Right. But
unique
how is this
issue
caused by
towards
women
men
at
that
all?
are
Even
caused by women, and that
why
is
is that caused by women? If it's an 80-20 split on dating apps, men typically, I don't know if you look at generic men's dating app profiles, they're usually dog shit and they take bad photos because they don't take good photos with their friends. Very poor lighting. Don't put work into themselves at all. And so yeah, if you have an 80-20 split, and like Mooncake said, you're looking for someone desirable, and 9 out of 10 of these people are just like, oh wow, this is an immediate like weird photo with nothing in the bio that interests me at all. Why would you swipe right there? Like, why is that perpetuated by women if not men not putting more work into themselves to make themselves more desirable?
I mean, I also think that we're not thinking. I do think that dating apps make these things more difficult on purpose so that they keep people hooked in to keep using the app, and they want to encourage men to pay for the premiums so that they're more likely to be seen by women. But also, I think that dating apps, regardless of your gender or like who you're trying to date or whatever, dating apps are kind of dehumanizing because it's reducing people to data points. And I don't think that they're good for anyone, frankly. I don't care for dating apps at all, no matter if you're getting, I don't know, a lot of clicks or not.
Well, not
I
long
mean, I
term
don't
for
think
sure,
dating
right?
apps
Like you
are
can hook up
yeah.
on them, but you're not going to find a long term partner. But when you have
Plenty of people
just the
do, to
top
be fair.
20%, well, I met my wife on Plenty of Fish, so I'll agree with you there.
I
But
don't think
I,
that
I
dating
think,
apps are good for most people for
yeah,
long-term relationships. Yeah,
yeah,
because even for
hmm,
women, you're kind of you're sifting through a sea of like what Soy Pill said, a sea of like really weird photos, and then when you get past the weird photos, you get some decent photos, you get people with actual bios. How many of these people are like you're still thinking about your safety at the end of the day, right? And you're thinking about like when you meet up with this person, okay, like you are taking a risk, right? When you meet up with anybody. And then like in the long term, women do tend to be more selective because also like how often do these like long-term relationships end and then there's a child involved, and how what percentage of the time is it the woman who is the primary caregiver of this child after that relationship ends, right?
she should have picked
So
better.
yeah.
Dating apps are
Okay.
normal
Well,
for
that's actually wait,
some.
real quick. That's another one of my points for Rabbit Wombat. Wick, do you think women choose bad men?
yes, and I think men choose bad women. Frankly, I think
Because
that
like the incel talking point is really this idea that like you look at these single women with deadbeat fathers, you look at like people that get abused, you look at all of this, and it's like this idea that this is women's fault for not
look
choosing better.
hold on. If you are man or woman on your 10th relationship where the same damn thing keeps happening to you, maybe it is your fault. Maybe it is your fault. I'm just saying. Like, if you are on relationship 5 where someone has
Baby Daddy
treated you a
4.
certain way, right, and acted a certain way, maybe you do have to look at your selection process and think, why do I continue to select for this quality?
Well, I
How
want to
do
go back
you
to
know
what
someone's
Mooncake
abusive
said.
before you date them, Wick?
I want to go back to what Mooncake said before, though, right? Because she said, okay, sure, they're picking these men, but they're not helping enough at home. They're not providing emotional support. They're not doing all these other things. Those are the criteria that women should be looking at, right? And I think that's something when we talk about are they choosing, should they lower their standards? I don't think they should lower them. I think they should reprioritize them. And as women start becoming more self-sufficient, more consistently, they should say, I don't need a man for money, for support to be able to go back into the workforce. I need someone who was raised in a way that they know how to cook. They do their own laundry. They'll do my laundry. They'll negotiate boundaries. And as our lives change and I get busier and they get less, we'll renegotiate the split of effort at home. All these things have nothing to do with how much he's making, how tall he is. There's no 666 in any of that. And I think that's where women can be better.
You don't think
That
that women
there shouldn't
mostly
just
do
be
those
an
things
instant.
other than the salary thing? I mean,
I don't
obviously
think so.
I
honestly
don't know
don't.
if this
I
is a
honestly don't.
bubble that I'm in, but women are constantly looking for men who can cook, men who can share in the chores, men who can negotiate and split things in ways that make sense. And a lot of men can't do any of that shit. A lot of
But at
men
what
can't
point?
even do their own laundry, which is
So
kind of
at what
unfortunate.
point in the relationship though, right? Because I think when you're looking at the dating app, when you're going out and you're hitting the bar and that, it's that first set of criteria is the 666, and then 6, 12, 18 months later, that's when the second
Well,
evaluation
that's when that
comes,
comes up, right?
or
On your first date,
potentially
you're
a
not like,
year into
"Hey,
the
do you
wedding.
do laundry? Can you cook?" That's not usually stuff you would ask like right away.
Well,
Right?
you
also
should
like to
probably
point
have
out
an idea
that
of that before
like
you start dating someone.
women who
Any
are
man
short don't have an idea. Oh, go ahead, Star.
Oh no, I was just saying that any man, even when you meet these guys for the first time, any man can say that he does cook for himself. Any man can say that he does do his laundry regularly. But when it actually comes to show, when you actually learn to see whether they can, is when you've been in that long-term relationship, and then you're like, oh, is this person just having a bad month, or are they,
Yep.
Yeah.
or are they really just not good at this? And then the second month happens, and then the third month happens, and then before you know it, you've been with them for a whole year, and then and yeah, so it
Yeah.
like kind
And
of
it
yeah.
sometimes doesn't even
Anyone
show
can
up,
hold in a
Star, until
fart
you
if they
move
don't
in
live together.
together, which is kind of like the idea that Wick, you say, well, they shouldn't be keeping, if you are 5 abusive relationships in a row, it's like you can't tell someone's abusive necessarily on the first date. Sometimes not even until like 6 months in, when they get
Well,
comfortable, they feel like they've won you over, and now that they're comfortable, they're like, hey, I've trapped you. You have commitment to me, and I can push it a little further. So
Yeah.
that's why it's like that's the incel rhetoric is like, women choose bad partners, and it's like, well, there's just a lot of shitty men out there, and
There
it's hard
are
to
a
sift
lot of
through
shitty
them.
men, but we have to again.
There's a very wait,
A
wait,
lot
wait,
of
wait,
shitty
wait.
women
There's a
out there
very
too, though, right?
important. There's a
There are,
very
sure.
important statistic. There's a very important statistic, right? A huge amount of domestic violence does not start until the woman is pregnant. That like a large percentage of domestic violence in relationships only begins the first time when a woman is pregnant, and that is an alarming stat, but it is the truth. So how are you supposed to tell when somebody's abusive, when the first time they're physically abusive with you is when you are at your most vulnerable, when you are pregnant?
I will say, and I completely agree with you, Star. I will say, as someone that for the majority of my life has picked bad people, there were always signs first. And what that is, I think that there are definitely people of all genders who don't have a good basis for what healthy relationships look like, and then they get trapped in cycles of abuse and don't really know how to pick out the signs. And I would
Would you say
wager
that's
that
your fault, Charlie?
Do I think it's my fault?
Yeah.
No, it's not my fault. My parents sucked.
No bootstrap arguments for Charlie there, Soy,
No
because that's all you've
bootstraps
given from
arguments.
in.
Yeah,
No,
that's the
it's
problem
not.
when
Pick
men have a
better,
problem.
Charlie.
It's
That's
not men's
true,
fault.
though.
Listen, I know men who have picked really bad, and it's because they've had a really fucked up, awful childhood. And, at some point, like, it does become your fault. It became my fault when I,
Yes.
developed enough, like, critical thinking skills to go, my God, I am someone that has been therapized. I have people in my life who support and love me, who are pointing these things out to me. What I can do is like work on not making dumbass idiot decisions, which I have done in the past. So at some point you reach an age where it's like, okay, get it the fuck together.
But does
It is
me
25,
saying,
there's
and
so many
Charlie,
resources out there to get your shit together.
I'm going to ask you directly. When I say that, hey, women out there, if you're choosing men and you're on your 5th man and he's acting the same way as all the other men before him, like, you should probably look to yourself and try to find out what you are doing wrong when you're choosing men. Is that incel rhetoric to you, or incel adjacent? Is that anywhere close?
It's getting close, but the axioms there are completely fine, right? Star, you're echoing a little bit, but yeah, the idea of like, hey, if you have seen the same pattern 5 times, you haven't changed. Yeah, you can put a little blame on them. The problem is incel rhetoric is the epidemic of women choosing bad men, the epidemic of single mothers who chose bad men. That's the incel rhetoric, and I don't know necessarily how close you are to that, but would you consider it an epidemic of bad decision making on women's parts?
I don't know about epidemic's a weird word to use, but there is plenty of it, and it is in what we do in society, though, and I see this all the time, is we coddle women about this. We're like, oh, it's okay, it's not your fault. We Yas Queen them. Yes, Queen. It's just those evil men. We do this all the time.
I'm sorry. When 20% or close to 20% of women experience domestic violence for the first time during pregnancy, how the fuck are they supposed to pick better men?
Carefully.
Yeah, more carefully than they are.
How?
Look, no one is
Young.
at fault.
A
It's
lot of
no
them
Give-
are
give
one's.
real
young
advice.
and don't like like this is.
Return to arranged marriages.
And
That's the
also,
plan.
how do women get coddled with domestic abuse and violence?
I'm not
and
talking about
sexual
domestic
assault?
abuse
I
and
think
violence and
that's
sexual assault.
crazy.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when women complain that their men are deadbeat dads, that their men are not helping around the house, when their men are just not living up to their expectations, leaving them lonely, etc., etc., etc.
Not romantic enough.
Yeah, exactly. There's a ton of things, right, that they'll say.
But they're very
That-
good at like switching. Like sometimes I find that you'll find, especially with abuse, men will do it in very small ways. They'll start very small. Sometimes people can't tell when there's those like little changes, and then it builds up over time. And I think sometimes we have to remember that people get stuck in a situation that they're like, oh, wait, it wasn't like this 6 months ago. And unfortunately, people do that all the time. And I would say also, have you noticed when parents get divorced, a lot of the times the dads aren't around. So they start turning these women into single mothers. Oh, I'm going to see my kid once every 2 weeks. And I think that's something that we do need to discuss. And we see it so often. So it is hard to tell. Maybe they were a good husband or dad during the marriage, but after the marriage, they just stop. And we do see that.
Yeah, why don't you elaborate on the coddling then, Wick? Because I
Yeah.
think they're making pretty good points about the abuse and how it's not like we're coddling them. If
Because
anything, it's
I
like,
am not
hey,
saying we're
maybe we
coddling
don't
abuse.
give them the tools to recognize it early enough. That's, on society as a whole. I don't think that's a problem perpetuated by women exclusively, though.
So
Access to abortion is so freaking important. And encouraging women not to get married super young and have children super young. Like, I'm sorry, I feel like this is how you get stuck with shit people. We need to encourage women to not get stuck with shit men. Abort.
Well, I
Don't
would've-
get married young.
I understand your point, Charlie, but I do think that the topic of abuse, the topic of deadbeat like dads, I don't think that really applies to any age, right? Yes, the younger women who get into these long-term relationships from a younger age are more likely to like be more naive and tolerate things, and women who are not educated and don't have a source of income are also more likely to tolerate like abusive behavior and things like that. But
Less
this can
experience.
happen to anybody at any age. And again, like the reason why I find this whole incel rhetoric thing like wildly disproportionate is because when it comes to like this like men are concerned about like dating bad women and having a bad relationship and or maybe not even
men
dating
are
women at
concerned
all.
about
Women,
finding a woman at all in many cases.
yeah, finding a woman at all, right? Whereas women are concerned, like it is your actual safety. What percentage of women, of female homicide victims in America, are a result of domestic violence? It is like something like 35%, some crazy number. 35% of female homicide victims in America are the result of domestic violence. So yeah, while men are looking for finding a woman at all, women are thinking about their safety. Right, and thinking about the safety of their future offspring.
Okay, that is
Likely to
my
kill you if
frustration.
you're a woman
Hold on,
is
just real quick.
is the man closest to you.
Just real quick.
Most likely to kill you is your boyfriend, your husband,
Sure.
your dad.
Just real quick, however.
Your wife.
Okay. My issue with this conversation is I feel like I'm saying something that is perfectly reasonable, perfectly backed up by what I would consider evidence, anecdotal as it may be. But then you guys start talking about things like, but domestic violence, but homicides in relationships. That's not
Well,
what
we're
I'm
talking about-
discussing. That's not what I'm referring to. I'm talking about something that's a lot more grounded, if you will, where most men aren't going to beat their women. They're just not. Do you disagree with that?
You can't.
I
I mean, it's just
I
empirically
do.
true. Like you.
I think it's a higher number. I think it's a higher number than we think. I think there's a decent amount of men who probably would be willing.
What's your number?
Going
What's your
at
guess? Give us a ballpark.
Honestly, I think it's
hold on. There's
50-50.
1, 2, 3, 4 men in this call. What percentage of us are going to beat our women?
I was gonna say 50%. I think it's 50.
Wait.
50%.
So 2 of us are
50% of
wife
men do
beaters in here.
How
then.
many of us have women here? Because that could really just
Fair enough.
eliminate the
I think, but
list.
I do. Sure, I understand what you're saying, Wick. I don't know the numbers on that. What I do.
Do you
what
think
I
it's
do-
50%?
It's not 50-50, not even close.
I think so.
I think it's definitely like 1/3, probably, to be honest.
30% of men.
I know too many women that have been beaten by men. I know too many women for it not to be like at least like 1/3. I
It
don't
is
think it's
1 in
every
3.
man,
That's
but
like
I do
the actual
think
stat. Like,
I
Do you want to
think
know
a
how
lot of
many
you-
men I know
I
who've
do
been
think
hit
it's a
by
whole
women?
lot of you.
I
I'm
think
sure
it's
a lot of them.
Wait.
Yes,
we're getting really
absolutely,
derailed.
Rabbit Wombat.
Not
I
to
don't want
be
to take
be
that away
sexist,
either.
but we're talking about women too much. I wanted to have Wick elaborate.
I know, right?
Yeah, sure.
Can you tell us what do you mean when women are coddled? Because before you elaborate, and this isn't me trying to tell you to be careful. I'm not trying to gotcha. That is the start of an incel sentence, but the way you finish it could be very not incel-y, right? It could be, hey, they have privileges here, here, and here, and we need to rectify that, instead of the incel rhetoric, which is like women have it on easy mode. So I want to know what you think about women being coddled.
I think women, here's the thing. Society doesn't take women seriously, right?
Okay.
And because they don't take them seriously, they are often coddled when they make a bad decision, when they do something wrong, when they break a law, right? If you look at conviction rates, women are far less likely to be convicted for the same crimes that men are because, again, society does not take women as seriously, right? This is a positive and a negative. And if I was a woman, I'd be infuriated by this stat, right? Infuriated by the stat that no one does take me seriously in these things, that I'm not seen as a person in the same way that a man is. But one of the things that happens is when we getting back to the relationships and relationship dynamics, whenever there is an issue there, I'm not talking criminal, I'm not talking abusive, I'm talking just an issue between men and women in average relationships, right? Women are just not taken as seriously, and men are often given the onus of having to have done
Here's the
wrong to
issue,
fix things.
Here's the
etc.
real issue.
Do you disagree with any of that?
Can I just
I
break
would,
this?
yeah.
The issue, Wick, is that you were talking about average relationships, and your idea of an average relationship is vastly different than what a woman's idea of an average relationship is. Right? You talk about relationship dynamics, and you think that like the domestic violence is not something that is commonly thought about by women, but it is. It is part of the relationship dynamics, and women are thinking about the risks that they potentially face in like a long-term relationship. So you can try as much as you want to say that like, oh, I'm just talking about normal relationships, but we're not even addressing the entirety of the issue if we're not talking about what women or why women act the way that they do and what the risks that they're thinking about are when it comes to these relationships. Because again, if it's 1 in 3, that
The made up number.
It's not, though. It's not.
No, I think it is
Higher.
1 in 3.
It's about-
like,
It is.
actually.
Hold on. In last year,
Wait a
how
minute.
many men were brought up for interpersonal violence? Do you think?
I
4%.
don't know how many men
It's
there
4%.
are.
That's what it is.
No. But the statistic is like 1 in 3 women have faced domestic abuse, not 1 in 3 men will domestically abuse someone.
Yeah, if it's 1 in
I
3
would
women have
also like to say that, I mean, like,
abuse, okay, if 1 in 3 women have faced domestic abuse, right? Which I think that is a pretty accurate stat. I'm not saying 1/3 of men are domestic abusers, but if 1 in 3 women have faced domestic abuse, then yeah, that is a common relationship dynamic for women.
So if
like to
only
say
4%
that, like-
of men are committing domestic violence and 30% of women are being domestically assaulted.
I don't know if we could overlap the stats like that, but I see
Oh.
where you're going.
Can I make a point, please?
Well, I mean,
I heard boys will be boys growing up. I heard boys will be boys growing up so many times when boys and men would do horrible, awful things. We have made it completely socially acceptable for men to abandon their children. We have made sexual misconduct a complete and total norm for men to commit. We forgive. I have grown up watching my brothers, my male friends, and my male relatives get away with horrific things that the women in my life would never, ever, ever be able to get away with.
Such as?
And it,
Like working in a coal mine?
No, my family members
I'm not-
aren't.
Yeah, I'm
are
not saying
coal
that.
miners.
To be clear, I'm not saying that that doesn't happen. I'm just thinking in my life and my anecdotes and watching women I know be able to just get away with all sorts of things that a man would not. But I understand these are anecdotal, right? And I don't put that on all women or all men or anything like that. But the problem is, and again, the problem with this whole conversation is we're supposed to be talking about men's issues, men's
Hold on.
problems.
The purpose of the
Well, I
conversation.
will say,
all
can I
talking about
say-
women.
Let me admit a fault in myself. I give men so much more grace than I give women, and I have noted this in myself repeatedly throughout my life, that I will forgive men for so much more as friends than I will forgive women for. And this is a problem that I've seen in myself and that I don't like in myself, and it's something that I observe in a lot of people, is that they give men a lot more grace for like social inappropriateness, being a shitty person, than they do for women.
Hold on. Let me challenge this for a minute. So, let's say both of us go to a bar, okay, or a club,
Mhm.
okay,
Mhm.
and both of us go up, and you go up to a man and you just start grabbing on him, okay, hugging him close, like dancing up on him, like feeling him up and stuff. I go up to a woman and I do the same thing to her. Which of us do you think is going to get kicked out of that club? Which of us do you think that society is going to look down on and not forgive for their actions more?
Oh, definitely you.
Exactly. So while you perhaps might give more grace to men in your life, and you're a saint for doing so, okay?
No, it's
I think
bad.
most
It's literally
people
misogyny.
don't.
It's misogyny, Wick. It is misogyny. I see this in
Or
myself. It's
misandry.
misogyny.
No. Charlie's saying she's misogynist.
Oh,
I'm
that
a
part. Yeah,
misogynist.
yeah, the
Yeah,
bar
I
okay,
don't
one
like
is
it. I see
misandry.
it in
This was
myself. I
misogyny.
have to do something about it. I have to. It's bad.
I understand.
Wick, I want to refocus this because maybe this was supposed to be about you, not about men in general. This is about you because
But-
we all care about you.
Well, I am
So-
the
so maybe-
representative of men.
Maybe we can refocus
That is
this.
my complaint as well,
you're
yes.
This
more
isn't
than
about
welcome-
masculine men. This is about you, Wick.
You're more than welcome to not want to answer this line of questioning, but I guess based on what I see, and I don't have specific examples, I do see you doomer post a lot on Twitter. Now, whether or not that has anything to do with women, who
It's
knows? Because a lot of
politics,
bad shit
baby.
is happening.
Almost
Politics.
entirely
So-
politics.
If you're not comfortable with answering this line of questioning, let me know.
Mm.
Are you single right now? And if so,
I don't talk about. I don't talk about.
is
my
there, like, a
relationship
struggle
stuff,
there?
Right. I
No?
don't talk about
Okay.
relationship stuff, good or bad. It's just.
Okay.
I've seen what happens when people make relationships part of their
smart move.
streaming.
Smart
It does
move.
not go well. Right.
There's a lot of recent examples that are
Yes.
floating around at the moment.
Hmm.
So I just. Yeah. Sorry about that. So.
Okay,
just,
no,
line of
totally
questioning
fair.
is just
Okay,
not-
well then, I guess to refocus on the idea of like why I see this as incel adjacent, and this was my big problem with it last week, is that you were lamenting about things that do happen, such as, like you just said, there are things that men have double standards towards. Men get treated, whereas like if you're a man at the park with a kid, you're more likely to get called like a pedophile and not like, hey, this is my fucking kid, or I'm babysitting this kid, right? They are seen as a threat. I mean, Star just showed us, and this is no like shade on you, Star. Women do treat men like a threat in most cases, and there's usually valid reasons to, but they're going to overlap that criticism onto men who are not a threat. And that is just something that we have to now deal with because of this smaller portion, as we know by the stats, of bad men. So my question is, what are you doing to try to like fix this? Or like, what are your actual prescriptions of like, how do we get men to be taken more seriously? How do we give advice to men? Because it seems to me, and my problem with you last week was all you mostly do is just kind of yell into the void about how women have it easier in this case, or men have this problem, they're not taken seriously. And you're not really trying to like be the example of, I take men seriously and this is why we should do it. Or here's my advice to men panel. Or,
I
you
can
know,
answer
this is
this
how I
question.
treat people in my life.
Yeah. So I think that one of the things that men don't get a lot, and I try to provide in the small way I can. I'm not a very big streamer. I don't have a lot of influence. But sometimes people just want to complain and be listened to. And I think there should be space for that. Where I'm not trying to fix them. I'm not trying to solve their problems. But I'm just trying to be like, yeah, man, women suck. Women are bad, right? And just kind of commiserate with them in that way. We need a space where we can just go, we can vent, and we don't have to be judged or feel like
A safe
people are. Yes, unironically in a lot of ways. And
You've
I
shifted the
try
Overton window.
when
We're
I
pro
when
safe
I
space.
when I give hold on. When I give, right? And my takes on this, and when I kind of commiserate with my fellow dudes in chat, that's kind of what I'm doing, is I'm saying, hey, I understand I get it too. I see it too. Now, once you build trust with an audience, right, you can start to also integrate like solutions. But I think the first step is building a relationship of trust with your audience. And I think that one of the ways you do that is by being honest with them, forthright with them, and not trying to immediately be like, I'm only doing this so I can tell you what I want you to do, right? Because I hate that. I hate people who come up and immediately you feel like you're being sold something, like someone is selling you a thing. And I don't want to do that to my audience.
Hey man, cool it with the anti-Semitism, okay?
That's funny. But no, that's that's why I do that, right? So when you see me screaming into the void or whatever, or just being doomer about women, yeah, I think that it's perfectly acceptable and a good thing, actually.
It's a good thing to be doomer about women. Star, you're echoing again.
Oh no, sorry.
Yeah, sometimes.
So this is, I guess, good because now I think we've drilled down to my real problem with how you view this. I think it's never good to be doomer about women. I think it's just as harmful as these women who go into safe spaces with other women and say, all men are pigs. This is terrible. Like, I can never find a good man. All men suck. Like, I think this is perpetuating this narrative of society that is going to alter your perceptions of people. Like, on like initial bases and breed these kind of negative thoughts towards communities in ways that they really shouldn't. So yeah, I think commiserating that, like, hey, dating's hard because dating apps are hard, that's fine. Complaining like, oh, this girl rejected me and she was really shallow and it's harder to find a less shallow person, that's fine. Commiserating about the state of how women are in an all male space, I think is how you get incel communities. And that's why when you talked about this sort of stuff and you were commiserating and I didn't see you offering solutions, you said, hey, like, I do think there's good red pill people like Xerxes. And then you go to your Xerxes channel.
He's a good guy. He is.
I think Xerxes is not a good rhetorical person that you should send anyone to if you're trying to make them improve as men, because all he does is commiserate about how men have it bad. Women are, cheating, lying people who are vapid and they need to lower their standards. And he is an incel. He's not incel adjacent. So yeah, I think you're sending people to incel people. That's bad. Yeah, like you are doing a societal harm by doing that.
I also think that you guys should try commiserating with like lesbians and queer women a little bit, because I'm not gonna lie, I feel like you're laughing.
We're not allowed on that server though. We tried.
You would be shocked by how often when I've dated women in the past, I've commiserated over the same issues with my straight male friend.
Yeah, this is true. I had a lesbian roommate in university. This is absolutely a thing. They do it too. Yes.
Yeah, it's like it. You don't have to. It doesn't have to be a boys only club. If you want to talk about, the difficulty.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the issue though, because Soypill, you described something that's very real. If you step into a feminist space, on either online or offline, whatever, but like an all women feminist space, you're gonna have women talking about women problems, and they're real problems. But there's not this expectation in that space that at the same time they also talk about men's problems. In fact, women are often allowed to, within this women's space, to be very hyperbolic in discussing their own issues.
Yep.
So when Wick is in, let's say, a men's space, and he's talking about men's legitimate problems, and maybe he's being hyperbolic as well, it does just seem to be the same sort of thing. And
yes, and I would say both of those are bad, just to be clear. Like, I'm not pro women's only spaces where all they do is say hyperbolic rhetoric about men. Like I said, I think that's bad. It's perpetuating it. I've seen it happen in real time, perpetuate very bad narratives about men in general that are not just, hey, here's a real society problem, but like, hey, I'm about to like start treating men differently in my day-to-day life in negative ways that do not reflect how most men are.
Well, sure. And I agree with you, by the way. I agree with you. It's just that this type of safe space-ism just seems to be very prevalent right now. Like you can do it with race, go into like an all black space where people are talking about how evil Whitey is or something. Like this happens a lot, and it's not good, but Wick isn't unique on this,
Sure. Well, he's just someone that is my friend that I care about, which is why when I see him doing something negative, I'm calling him out specifically. But obviously, if this was really, but to be clear, Wick, if this was like, holy shit, you can't do this, I wouldn't make this a panel. I would just talk to you in DMs and be like, hey, whoa, buddy, maybe you shouldn't be DMing this 14-year-old or whatever fucking insane thing you were doing.
Look, I understand that this is very light, and you don't think that I'm like this evil person. I get that, and I'm not accusing you of that, but I am just trying to express my frustration with something that I think that is not just, I think it's a double standard, and I think it's unfair, And I do want men to have better ways to discuss these issues, but first you have to let them know that you're on their side, and this is one of the ways I let them know that I'm on their side. But let's give it to Rabbit. He has his hand up. He's very polite.
I do, because I'm a little polite. Sorry, I'm Canadian.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. So 2 thoughts. One, kind of tongue in cheek. If you have 10 men talking about men's problems, you talk about men's problems. If you have 9 men and a woman talking about men's problems, you're talking about women's problems.
That's true. We are the majority on this panel.
that-
We have talked more about women's problems. You're not
That
wrong.
being said, olive branch over to soy, and I think that's where I come together with him a little bit on this, is when you look at call centers, and I worked in one for a number of years, you have angry people calling in, and they're going to vent and they're going to say some things, and you don't disagree with them. You nod your head verbally a little bit along with them. You let them get it out. Usually they calm down, and then you get into productive conversation afterwards where you can get to the heart of the real problem. You can talk about real solutions and go from there. And I think what Wick is doing a lot of times is in that commiseration, he is getting through that initial part with these people, and he's getting to a point where once that has been vented off, that you can start talking about real problems, because I honestly think he sees women
Rabbit,
as
this is
allies,
perfect. This is
right?
perfect. Wick, I agree. If that's the way that you're building the bridge to people who want to commiserate, what are you doing to lift men up? What are your prescriptions for men? Because you called what I'm saying bootstrap, and it seems like you view that negatively. What do you actually think men should be doing to fix their societal problems?
Look at what you can do and improve it. So first of all, my advice to men, it's hard to give you a general thing because I think these things should be like tailored to the individual, because some men just don't look as good as they should and should do some grooming, right? Some showering, some shaving, and whatever they need, right? Or some exercising. I think that's good. But I think
to be clear, the reason I know you're not an incel is if you said that to an incel, they'd have a bitch fit. So that's how I know for sure you're not.
In general, there's just 3 things that all men could do, I could do, everyone could do to make it a little better, a little easier on themselves, okay? First, go to the gym. Go to the gym, pump some iron, run a little bit, do something, work on yourself just a little bit that way, right? That's never going to hurt you. It's only going to provide positive benefits for you. Even if you're not looking for women or to like date or what have you, it's just gonna be better for you and more healthy overall.
Don't lift for them, lift for you. I always say that.
Second of all, I'll take your advice on the lifting stuff. Obviously, I should take my own advice more on going to the gym, but that's neither here nor there. The second thing I would advise all men to do is start talking to more people, right? Get out there more. Widen your circle of people you talk to. And that is very hard for a lot of people, especially because we've been isolated by our little cell phones and things like that, right? It's become, we have a loss of third spaces and communities and things like that, right? I remember growing up, I'd go to the bowling alley every weekend and shoot the shit, right? And those they're out there still, but you go there now and it's just a bunch of 60-year-olds, right? Like it's just a bunch of old folks, right, doing their thing. So again, these are very basic, very generic things. But if you want like real advice from someone, and here's a real kicker, ladies and gentlemen. Don't look for it on the internet. Go to your friends, right? Go to your family. Ask the people around you. They know you better than we do.
Okay, Rabid and Wick maybe. Is what Wick just said at all different from what I was saying in terms of what you called bootstrapping?
No, to be honest, like those are all very bootstrappy. I think they're positive. It wasn't a get good kind of thing. I think it's good advice, though, right? I think.
Yeah, but
I
do you know what
you
the
have to look at?
is?
Yeah, but you have to. I think an issue is that we think all all the solutions for men are bootstrap and all the solutions for women are institutional. And I think the truth is somewhere in the middle. And so I don't want to completely discount the idea that there are bootstrap things you should do. Like as a man, the focus of your life should be understanding yourself and your passions, exploring those, and then you will find connection as you're doing those. Don't make the pursuit of someone
I think
else the focus of your life.
hold on.
Right? That's where I agree.
I think
with
you're
you.
I think you're missing the point, Soy Pill, and let me explain, perhaps,
Mhm.
is that when I do it, right, when I give this advice, it's natural. It's something I believe, and I'm not trying to sell men on it. It's something that if a man asked me, I'd tell them this, right? But I've already done the work of commiserating with them, of building their trust, because I do believe what I'm saying, right? I do believe that they have these problems, and I'm not trying to minimize them. What a lot of men find frustrating is when people just immediately start trying to fix that stuff it makes it feel like they're not being taken seriously, that their real problems just aren't being addressed, and that they're not being listened to. And instead they're being like, shut up, just go to the gym. Shut up and go to the gym. And I don't think I think that like that's the main difference is
the reason that disconnect happens, Wick, is because the men that are doing this, and this isn't like a generalized thing, but this is a lot of examples that I see. This is at least anecdotal. When men say, "Oh, women have too high standards. Women are only shooting up. They only want six packs and abs and height." The people that are complaining like this are people that don't do any of these things you're talking about.
Not
they don't go to the gym.
necessarily.
They don't put. Hold on, I'm not saying this is every single case. This is why a lot of these things get shut down, is because you see that lack of any of those things, any of that work to even raise themselves to the level that like a woman will be like, "Oh wow, you clearly put an effort and are desirable as a person," and they're still complaining while they're at the bottom. And so that's why you see this disconnect where it's like, well, you're saying, oh, women do this and women do this and women do this, and it's like, what have you done? You haven't even like put yourself into the sphere of like being dateable regardless of gender. Like you are a slob, you don't have a good paying job, you don't have hobbies that are relatable to these people, and it's like, okay, well, I feel bad because these people are telling me to lift myself up. Well, it's like, well, you don't do it. Like you haven't even gotten to the part where like the societal problem should even factor into it.
Here's what we're gonna do. I got some super chats, and I want to get Mooncake's takes here, and I want to get what she has to say, and I want to get everyone else kind of back into the discussion. But let me make a little money because everyone knows that's why I'm really here. $2 from Esoteric Dichotomy to say hello, Wick. Thank you for streaming. You're welcome. $5 from Schwengo to say, Soy, who are you trying to kid here? Everyone who knows Wick will say he is wildly pragmatic. No incel nonsense rhetoric risk here. True. Dylan Bowser, membership.
Wait. I want to address that guy real quick. Do you think sending people to an incel is not incel adjacent?
Cersei is not an incel.
Cersei's Twitter is. I'm scrolling through his Twitter right now. It's pretty bad.
Cersei is 100,000% an incel, and not he's not on trial right now. But like, you could go look at his most popular videos. It's like ridiculously like everything is about how women are the problem.
Pill,
this
but he's
incel. Black pill is incel. Okay, if he's had sex before, sure. He's not literally the word incel. Incel rhetoric. He is incel bubble. He is an incel. Like he's a red pillar, but says it's over for you. Okay, like it's incel.
What are you trying to say, Dev?
Wick, you have to understand.
Dev, don't let the women talk over you.
You are part of the alt incel pipeline now. That's now your legacy on YouTube.
Unironically, if you send them to Cersei, you are like.
I mean, yeah, because I feel like reading through. If I was a man and I went to Cersei's
I don't even know who this guy is,
Twitter,
actually.
I'd be like, women will never love me because I'm a hideous beast. Like that's how I'd feel scrolling through Cersei's Twitter. It would make me.
What's this guy's Twitter? I gotta go see it.
Here, I'll link you his video. Incels Are Right, Volume 2 in the Discord while he's reading that super chat. Maybe I can read you some quotes too.
Hey, thank you for the Tier 1 membership. Welcome to the stream. Audacity for $5 to say perfect convo before the Wilson debate. Some Sun Tzu tactics going on here, getting into the mindset of your enemy. True. $10 from Doobie. If you're not a traditionally attractive person, why not just accept that you won't be competitive on a dating app built for first impressions? Just find somewhere else you can go to show off your strengths. The problem with that, Doobie, is that we're less and less able as men to approach women in non-app spaces. And we've had this debate before, Soy Pill, right? Like more and more, it's become socially unacceptable to approach women in public, right? You will get shit on more and more than you would have 20 years ago or even 30 years ago, right?
Okay, but Wick, you're a dork. You're a dork, Wick. Take yourself down to the LARP. to the Ren Fair, to the anime convention. I'm saying that as someone that goes to LARP, Ren Fairs, anime conventions. You get bitches. All right? Like, I'm telling you. Being a dork as a man, that's like a...
I guarantee you I could put together a panel in 5 minutes where you will have 6 women telling you that was shameful for you to suggest that I go and invade the LARP space where they are free from being hit on, right? And suggest I hit on them.
Okay, but again, so wait, hold on. This is part of my problem, though, Charlie.
People get laid at conventions all the time, man.
This is part of my
crazy.
problem.
Oh, I know,
Incels will point at the backlash to what has been decades of like just totally chauvinistic men like fucking up women in public and being like, "Hey, sup toots," and like putting their arm and not letting them move and like saying, "Well, now it's socially unacceptable to hit on women." And then at the same time, they'll post videos of women complaining that like no one's hitting on them. And these are both problems where it's like men are scared to do anything because they think like any and all things could be perceived as bad. But the problem is also that there was decades. Star, please mute when you're not talking. It's like I've been echoing the entire time. Sorry.
I didn't realize. My bad.
Yeah,
I'm
so
sorry.
like men have had a decades of history, and I'm not saying all men, but like a good chunk of men, and this is why there's a backlash of just doing absolutely awful things to women in public to try to hit on them and like making them feel uncomfortable. So the idea is, yeah, there are places it's okay, there are places it's not okay, but if you're not doing it because you're worried about how you'll be perceived, instead it's like, hey, I'm just going to shoot my shot, and if I'm doing it wrong, I'll figure out. That's actually a you problem. That's not a society problem. I've never let the societal expectations of what men should or shouldn't do dictate what I should do. I do it on an individual basis, and I think that's better advice to men than just saying, "Oh, don't go out hit on women because women will freak out and it's totally socially unacceptable."
I'm not saying that they should not hit on women. I am saying that society
You're lamenting
needs
that
to make
society
it more acceptable.
admonishes it,
right? This is my argument. I'm saying that society has made it too unacceptable to approach the opposite sex in public spaces.
What do you mean? Are people going to jail for this?
Re-roll that back. We need to roll that back and once again normalize going up to a woman in the gym or the grocery store or wherever.
Not at the gym. What
Absolutely
are you doing?
Okay, not at the grocery store. I got approached once at the grocery store.
Why not?
Because I'm on a fucking mission. I'm on a mission to get my
this is the
groceries,
problem.
and I don't want to be spoken to by any. I don't even care if they're not hitting on me. I don't want to be spoken to at the grocery store. I'm on a mission. It's loud. It's crowded. I'm scared. Leave me alone.
That depends. Actually, I got hit on the grocery store the other day, and it would have been fine, but he started rubbing my back. So him like talking to me is okay. No, I'm not even joking. I'm really not joking.
Yeah, don't.
And he's like, "Oh, can I give you my card?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, like that's no problem." But then he started rubbing my back. So he was okay in the first half, but once he had crossed that boundary, it was like, "Oh, okay, this person's a weirdo." Like there's no coming back from that. So I think there is a way to approach in public, but it's like I don't think some men understand boundaries.
That is a separate problem, yes.
Yeah.
But you saw the reaction when I said gym or grocery store and how everyone was like riled up, okay? That's what I'm talking about.
It depends. It's from person to person.
There is a way to do it where it's like where it's not super invasive, I think. Like, I don't know. I think
I present the meme that started this all. The way to do it. That would be
obviously,
I think that if you if you approach somebody as they're like leaving or something and you're like, "Hey, I saw you and I think you're whatever, I'm interested in you, and here's my number, and if you want to give me a call, but if no pressure or whatever," I think that's okay. Like I don't see why that's an issue. But
yeah,
it's
I think
I feel
before or after the gym, right? Like the gym is a place where individuals gather community to do something, and timing is important between sets and your mindset. So on that one thing, Wick, I would say while they're actually in the gym, the good advice is to not, you can
obviously
smile.
Okay,
not even between sets. They're looking at their watch and they're making sure that they hit their set at the next set at the right time, right? So the other one, grocery store, yes,
as somebody's leaving, I don't see an issue. I've been approached as I've been leaving, and I think it's non-invasive. It's not somebody getting in your face. It's not somebody disrupting your workout, right? And they're not putting any pressure on you, and then you have the right to like decline, right? And you won't feel too bad about it.
I think you can smile at someone or nod or something in the gym, and that's like a temperature check. That's okay, but before or after is
cruising in the gay community.
That's
no, Wick. To be clear, it's not about the fact that that you should never hit on someone at the gym, because there's obviously acceptable ways to do this. The problem is if you prescriptively tell people this is totally acceptable, but most men are actually really bad at boundaries, now you're going to get a bunch of men who are bad at boundaries doing it wrong in a place where they go regularly. And if they make, let's say a
That's how they
mooncake situation
learn.
happens, yeah, but you shouldn't use women as a way to learn. You should be already telling them what you can and cannot
Hold on.
do
How
before you
can
just
you
say
learn
it's totally
unless
okay.
you do it?
Because
Wick is
people like
pro
you and
human
me
testing. You
can
heard it
say,
here first.
hey, you shouldn't go up to a woman you just met and rub her back while you're trying to give her a
Of
card, right?
course
Now
not.
well, you and I think that's common sense, but this guy doesn't. And a lot of men are not raised to. So when you prescriptively say this to your audience, there are some subsets of those people that might go
Man.
do some shit like that at a gym where they meet regularly, and now this woman is uncomfortable to go
Okay,
back to a spot
audience,
that she considers
audience,
safe.
if you are
right?
listening
So-
to me, I want you to understand when I'm advocating that you feel more comfortable to approach women in public spaces, I am not advocating, and please don't do this, start rubbing their back or rubbing them at all when you have just started talking to them. Do not do that, okay? I didn't think this needed to be said, but apparently it does.
It
And he
does,
was in
unfortunately, but
60s,
not because of
just saying.
people like you, Wick, just to be clear.
I was gonna ask Mooncake, was he an older man? Because I feel
He-
like older
in his
men are really
60s.
bold. They're so
Yeah,
bold.
which threw me off even more because I'm like, maybe he's used to it. Like, this is how I don't know. I find sometimes older men are more, I don't know how to explain it. Like, they have even less boundaries sometimes, where they kind of think like, oh, I can do
Nothing to
what I want,
lose.
especially when they have money.
Because they had all the
Yeah.
HR training videos. They're like, nothing says good job like a firm slap on the ass. You know, like it's
Well,
just
like-
a culture.
They have resources.
Hold-
They
hold on a
make
second.
it easier.
Yeah.
So this guy was in his 60s, right?
Yeah.
The best advice I've ever given, I think, or even heard from other, like, I tell people to, like, you should approach like women like you're approaching like a wild cat. I feel, you know, like you don't corner them, you don't just, you know.
You want some tuna, Star? You want some tuna?
Not like that. But you know what I mean. You don't corner them. You don't like touch them. You know, like you don't
Give them your
make-
business card, walk away. It's that easy.
Yeah, yeah.
Women are
basically.
wild animals. You heard it here first.
I've-
Okay, go ahead, Mark.
I just gotta ask. So this guy was 60.
I know it's
You said
misogynistic, but it,
okay. This guy was about 60, but you said for the first half you were into it.
Well, like he was just talking. Well, I should say I do like older men. Like my last guy I saw was like 42, so I don't have a problem with older men. But initially it was like fine conversation, seemed pretty nice. And then that's when like it took a step further, which I was like, oh, this is weird now. Like this is weird, and I don't know. I guess what to do in those situations. It was just really awkward.
No, I understand. Man, what's interesting is I had a similar conversation about this stuff with a bunch of right wingers, people who are all way more far right than anybody on this panel, and their solution was actually to go back to like arranged marriages, because then at least you have a family who will vet the guy. And I'm like, okay. And there were women in the call who was like, man, I wish my parents would find me a good boyfriend. And it's like, I can see the appeal, but you should do some things yourself sometimes, you know?
They just want. Oh, look,
That's
I'm
not
not going to
how-
Yeah,
convince
that
their right wing
sucks.
person
I
to
don't want my
fuck
parents to pick who I date. They have terrible taste.
Yeah, I wouldn't want that either.
okay, people have a lot of misconceptions on how arranged marriages are happen, right? Like, yes, your family vets this person and you meet their family and your family meets their family and then you meet them, but you still have like the end say after talking to this person for a little bit, right? It's not like, and things can still go wrong, right? But
Yeah, your
Yeah.
family can't suss out whether or not their husband's going to be abusive once you get pregnant. That kind of comes up later, unfortunately.
Yep.
So.
Yep. You know, I've talked to several right wing women who are just like, I just wish, because I trust my parents and my family. I wish that they would vet my boyfriends for me, and it's
Well,
like, man, okay.
And for that to happen, like the community that still happen, that these arranged marriages happen in is like obviously like the South Asian community. This happens quite often, but part of the reason is like there's like such a like people talk about family values, like South Asians take it like next level, right? So it is quite literally you're not just marrying the person you're marrying their entire family. So it is kind of important for your family to vet their family, and then can your families gel? Is the mother-in-law going to be like a fucking pain in the ass and be out riding your ass all the time, even though you work like full time, or like things like that? And also like is this a decent person that you can imagine like you know, living a long time with and enjoying your time with them. You know, so it's like it's not that easy, and people have a lot of misconceptions of like what like happens with arranged marriages and you know that things still go wrong and people will you know start the you know they'll start the process of like okay this turns it's going to be a thing and then things go along the way and then everything's off right canceled right
Well, Stardust, do you actually see do you see any value in this way of arranging relationships?
I think it really depends, right? Like nothing is gonna be perfect. Honestly, like I have my own, you know, I think that like South Asian community, like there's like a whole other thing there, like where they take family values a little bit too far. So like that's another thing that like there are some pros to it, but also like you shouldn't have to like live and die and breathe for your.
Let's keep.
I'll just say this: that my parents cannot determine the sexual compatibility of me and my future partner, and I don't want them to be able to. So I'm glad.
Yep, I completely agree with that.
Yeah, but there's a middle ground. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
$10 from Doobie to say, to be fair, women essentially turn into demons at some points in the pregnancy. Not excusing violence. Just saying. Maybe
like
they need a non-violent exorcism or something.
Doobie's going through stuff. I just want to add on there because as a member of the Filipino community, there is something in between what you two are saying where for my wife in her village and community, if you had a young man who wanted to date a young lady, he would have to go meet the parents and they would ask who his parents were, who the cousins were, not only to determine if they were related or not, but, you know, if there's a reputation on that side of the family. And this isn't even for dating at this point. This is to determine if they're allowed to just start hanging out together to decide if they eventually are going to date.
That's strict also
and that,
with,
right?
With
Yeah.
South Asian
I do want to.
And I think there's value to that.
I do want to get through the rest of these.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do want to get through the rest of these.
I thought only
Stop being a racist.
I got a few. Okay. $2 from Frank Vibes to say if someone bring in Myron Gaines. No, thank you. $10 from Psychonaut to say I'm a little confused. We are talking about women getting abused, then blaming it on incels, but incels by definition aren't able to get into relationships. How are they?
He's confused. He clearly is not following the conversation at all. No one was blaming incels for hitting women. They don't have women to hit.
$5 from Chernobog Rebellion to say, quote, women choosing bad men is incel talk, end quote. Then proceeds to say how an insane stat of men just harms women for hours. These talks never go anywhere. $10 from Audacity to say the bars for what is considered abuse men versus women versus what is considered abuse for women versus men aren't even on the same field. Psycho men out there, but you'd get chastised for so much as a dude.
I
Mr.
think women actually commit more domestic violence than men, to be clear. I just don't think
I don't think it's okay for women to hit men. I don't think it's okay at all. But I do think that we need to acknowledge that men are typically far more capable of doing a lot more damage to women. It's a lot scarier when, like, okay, for instance, my dad's 6'5", my mom's 5'2". Like if my dad could like crush her skull with his hands, my mom is like a baby animal pawing at him.
Like a wild cat, you might say.
Not even. She's like a chihuahua.
Okay.
I would say I agree with Soy Pill. I do think that I think that women probably on average do engage in more physical violence than men do. But yeah, the point of that is like the point of what I brought up was just purely about like the danger. Like, you know, again, it's like I think it's 6% of male homicide victims are a result of domestic violence, whereas like 34% of female homicide victims are a result of domestic violence. So they're like these are things that people think about, right? They think about like, you know, their mortality and stuff. And that's
you
pretty
keep calling
important.
it homicide.
Homicide
It makes
is
me
when you kill gay people.
It's homicide.
Not the homicide.
homicide is something different.
I'm saying homicide.
No,
you're saying homicide.
You keep saying
You've said
homicide.
it a few times.
Okay.
Did I really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I just
Yes.
It's okay. $5 from Mr. Wise Guy Plays to say, LMAO, this strong woman unironically thinks it's a bad thing to be nice to men. That's how you know someone has too many yes queens in her life. $5 from Ace.
Wait,
Yeah, like
that's-
which
I
one-
don't
which
know
person
who
was
that
saying that?
You have to be more specific. There's a lot
Yeah,
of yes.
there's a lot of yes queens on
Well,
this.
I came on here just to be clear. I came on here to derail and just be like, just kind of
Typical women.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
$5
so-
from Ace to say panel should use these male violence statistics in arguments with black people instead of men. Let's see if they have moral and
Oh, yeah.
logical.
That's the classic
consistency.
one. It's like you're like, oh, here's this problem with men, and they're like, what kind of men?
Yeah, I don't always, but my favorite is how does that break down by race, and then the conversation derails.
$5.
The thing is, like, whether it's by race or not, like, we can look at the stats of men in general. If you look at any country, regardless of race, men commit a vast majority of violent crime. So
You're also more
commits-
likely to be
which type
abused
of men
by
commit
men
the
of
vast
your
majority
race.
of male crime?
You are literally like, if as a white woman, white men are my main predator. Stars would be South Asian men. Mooncakes would be black men. You are most in danger by men who belong to your race or ethnicity.
That's
or
why
culture.
we should normalize being an equal opportunity predator. That's
True.
what I say.
Right.
Wait,
You're right.
are all three of you admitting that you date along racial lines intentionally?
No, just
No.
statistically.
I don't.
No,
Yeah.
I like the entire rainbow.
Okay.
I mean,
$5
I
Same,
don't
yeah.
date white dudes.
$5 from Bass FC from Xerxes to say,
Hey.
hold on, I'm not an incel. LMAO, incels would never accept me for obvious reasons. Winky face.
He just
Wow.
agrees with almost everything they do, but I'm sure I think he does have sex. So by definition is not the incel, but that word colloquially means the rhetoric. Sorry, buddy. You're kind of an incel.
$5 from Shenandoah to say, this panel is simple. Wick is a MGTOW, Soy Pill is a white knight, Dev is a wife guy, Charlie is a man, and Mooncake is my feeder.
why am I excluded? What the fuck?
I don't know. $5.
Maybe you weren't here. You were here at the start.
$5
I am definitely a wife guy, though.
Yeah.
Did you guys hear about that?
that you
The
got
whole
married?
wife guy thing? No. The wife guy drama on the right, like a couple months ago.
No.
Guess
What's the
you're-
white
that's your-
guy drama?
So right wingers were getting into this right wing civil war over the people who just wanted, like, they voted Trump because they just wanted things to go back to normal, whatever normal is. They just want to get married and have a house and have kids and drive around in a minivan and have like a very normal life. And then you had other right wingers who were saying these wife guys are cucks because they don't have the stones to actually be revolutionaries against the system. And so there was this infighting happening on the right for a while over wife guys. It's pretty fun.
I'll have to look into that. Did you do a video on it that I can watch?
I did actually, yes.
I'll have to go check that
Oh,
out.
real quick, Wick, just to clarify also on Xerxes' super chat, everything that I brought up is like, what would you say to this? Every answer Xerxes would give would be the incel answer,
Well,
and you didn't do that. So
His next super chat will answer that. Says for $5 to say, that's not fair. I've never said it was over. What I've said was that it's hard. LL, we're playing Elden Ring right now. LOL. I don't know the Elden Ring bit, but okay.
I don't either.
$2
Okay,
from
maybe he's not fully doomer pilled. He just says women choose bad men. Fitness is the only way for men to improve. We need to listen to incels more. Pearl Davis is one of the few women in the online space who says positive things about men. Like, okay, sorry, buddy.
$2 from Ace to say hot girl thanks to give advice to an uggo dude. LOL. Which one of us is an uggo dude? Jesus.
I mean, me. Yes, I don't show my face.
Oh,
Excuse
damn.
me. Fuck off. Like, wow.
$10 from Doobie to say you can literally go on a website like Meetup and find dozens of events in your area where people like you are trying to meet friends, potential partners, go bowling, hang out at a bar, etc. Perhaps, Doobie, but you can't deny that there are just less of those things happening than there were 20 years ago, right? It's just not the same. There are less people attending those things. There are less people looking to host these things. It's just less than there was before. $2 from Ace to say Wick needs to build wealth if he wants a girl for real. I don't want to get a girl with my money. Let's say that. $5 from Audacity to say every time Soy or Charlie talk, my newborn starts crying. When Wick or Rabbit talk, she smiles. I think I found my scoring metric here. Okay, and then $5 from Lithium to say women also commit paternity fraud and get away with it.
Okay.
Fair
mean,
enough.
Like they lie about who the dad is.
We have ways to determine
Doing the cuck
that
thing?
now.
Yeah. We do. Well, how do you, would you say it's incel rhetoric for a man to advocate for mandatory paternity testing.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, that's the
I think
idea
that's
is that like, oh,
crazy.
women aren't trustworthy and we have to like check all of them. Even our wives could be lying to us. That's pretty incel, yeah.
What do you think if someone said that you're not allowed to put a name on the birth certificate without either the man signing off on it or there being a DNA test on it?
That sounds radical and extreme. I wouldn't agree with it.
Oh, why? Why not? Why not?
Why can't you just name your child without like a whole scientific procedure to
Well,
ensure?
No, that's
the
the
name.
man. The man can
father's
say,
name, the
put
father's
my
name.
name down, but you shouldn't be able to put a man's name on the birth certificate either without their consent or without a test that proves that it's them.
What legal consequences does it have?
So
if, like,
I'll give you an
I
example.
think,
why this
if
might
you
be-
want to
child
do
support?
if you want to do a paternity test to get out of child support, I think that's totally fine. If every single birth has to have a paternity test, or else the birth certificate isn't legitimate, it seems kind of
no.
insane.
Oh, you
So-
can have a legitimate birth
hold on here.
certificate with
I'll
one
explain
name.
Dev,
this
go
really
ahead,
quick.
Dev.
Yeah,
Give
I'll
it to
explain
him.
really quick. So on a birth certificate, it says on a birth certificate you have who the state identifies as the parents specifically
I'm
for
aware,
legal
yeah.
reasons. Yeah. So I guess the idea is if a woman has a child, and in some locations she can unilaterally put down whatever man she wants if the man's not present on the birth certificate, which to me that sounds fucking crazy. It should be either by the man's consent or with a DNA test.
Okay, yeah. If
I
the
mean, I
man's
agree.
not
Yeah.
there, I guess, yeah. If you could just put anyone's name down, I could see that being exploited, and that shouldn't be the case. But if anything, I think it should just be easy to prove the fraud, and the man's not consenting to it. Not like, oh, the man has to sign it at some point. Not, oh, we have to have a paternity test before you're even allowed to put the man's. That's like seems a little egregious. But I
Okay,
get
but
the sentiment of it.
that process takes years, and you have to pay child support in that time frame
No.
while it's
Just
being
just
figured
saying
out,
they have to be
and you
signed,
don't
is what
get
I'm
the
saying.
money back at that point, right? And this whole conversation, like your initial reaction to it was that it's overblown, incel-y, anti-women,
Right. Yes. Yeah.
misogynist
If you
rhetoric,
wait,
but
I'm
you
not
spent
backing
30
off on
extra
this.
seconds,
One
and
sec,
now
Rabbit.
it's a
Rabbit.
valid concern.
Rabbit, if the idea is if a woman can just write any guy's name down without his presence and then force him to pay child support, I never said that paternal like fraud or child support fraud is bad. I'm saying that it's incel-y to say every single birth certificate needs to be checked. Every single child needs to be paternity tested because otherwise every single woman will do this when this is a very rare thing. And if we want to stop it from happening because it is bad, I think you can also just do this by saying, hey, a birth certificate isn't valid unless the guy has signed it. If it doesn't have his legal signature on it, just because she put the name doesn't mean it's valid yet. That's completely like 10 steps away from paternity testing every single child.
Why is it incel-y though? You can say that
The incel-y part
it's
is
too
this
much,
idea.
but
The
it's
incel-
not incel-y.
The incel rhetoric is every single child needs to be paternity tested because women are these lying, conniving, money-grabbing whores
You're
who
adding
just want
that,
this. But that is the incel rhetoric that you see in these incel spaces, right? So you can remove it if you completely go out of context and say, hey, shouldn't every single case of child support be backed up by evidence? That's not really an incel statement out of context. The problem is the people that bring this up are the people that paint the narrative of, oh, it's because women are going to lie and we have to fact check every single woman, which is the incel rhetoric.
Okay, but did either one of us do that? Because you immediately
No, I
went
just said
to
it sounded
incel-y,
incel-y,
so-
but neither
yeah,
of you are incels, so.
All right, well, it
Yeah,
sounded
but hold on.
disingenuous for
Hold
you
on.
to
The
say.
whole reason we're having this conversation is because you've accused me of saying things that I think are just true, right? Like,
Would you bring this up just out of the blue as a societal problem, paternity testing and all
not
children?
out of the blue. Why would I do it out of the
No,
blue?
well, I just mean, like, do you think this is a thing that, like, is a epidemic of women lying about fathers and they're scamming men and we need to fix this? Because that, I would say, is incel-adjacent rhetoric, yeah.
No, of course not. But you're missing my point here of saying that the reason why I think it's germane that Rabbit brings this up as a point and then points out your reaction to it is because the whole panel is because I was saying what I consider just clearly true things about the world. You called it incel adjacent, and now we're here, right? So
Okay, so
Rabbit
this is what I'm
here,
saying.
Rabbit, just real quick.
This is
Rabbit,
an incel
hold
adjacent
on,
talking point.
hold on.
Rabbit validated it as you could say this without being an incel. I agreed. And I'm asking you if you're bringing this up for any other reason other than we're already talking about birth certificates and not, hey guys, don't you think it's a huge deal that women lie on this all the time, which is a thing that happens, but absolutely not a huge deal and absolutely not that prevalent, then yeah, that's kind of incel rhetoric where you have this narrative of women being these lying, conniving people already in your head. That's why it's incel adjacent, not because out of context it is a thing that happens.
Lying, conniving bitches. Okay, just call them what they are.
Okay, but we didn't, and you still went to incel. How are you
'Cause you brought it
supposed
up.
to have?
A lot of the
we're
men who
having the
talk about
conversation,
this
like you
stuff
said.
are like a lot of the men who bring up the paternity test stuff do so to imply that women are mega whores and you should never trust your dumb bitch whore wife because she probably spread her legs for some dude. You know,
For
like
Wick.
it's just like for Wick.
For Wick.
Okay, but
like again, like
is the problem with
I've
me?
never heard paternity tests come up ever is in the context of a guy being like, women are whores. You know,
Yeah, it's like,
Sure,
why are
but
you
is
bringing
me
it up
trying
as
to
a
have the
societal problem,
legitimate
Rabbit?
conversation and you thinking it's an incel talking point immediately and having that reaction, is that an issue with me or is that an issue with you?
No, Rabbit, it's an issue with the way that these things are brought up, right? So we're bringing this up in a incel adjacent conversation. Now, if you were to say, hey, I had this problem, my wife or my ex-girlfriend or whatever is committing paternity fraud, no one would say, oh, this is inceldom. But then your prescriptive claim is, we need to be checking every single woman with these paternity tests. That's kind of incel-y, and bringing it up as a societal problem when it's really not that big of a deal. It's a big deal in these cases individually, but this is not like a, hey, I have to platform this as my like politician, running a platform because this is like such a huge thing that we need to fix when it's not that prevalent. That's why it's incel-y, because
it's important
you
to the
only
men
think it's
that it
prevalent.
happens to, though.
Yeah,
It's very important to those people, but it's hold on. No, wait, let me finish. Let me just finish.
Finish your point.
It is prevalent to the people that it happens to. It is not a widespread thing that happens all the time in society. So if you bring it up as a societal problem, the reason it's incel-y is like, why do you think that this is such a common thing? Why are you painting women as these untrustworthy people and not, hey, this happened to me or this happened to my friend? That's why it's different.
Okay. So this is a good illustration of something that frustrates me in these conversations, because if a woman had brought up an incident or things that don't happen to them very often, it's pretty rare, but they're still really bad when they do, and then they advocated for a societal fix to this to say, okay, well, it's not going to be too much of a burden on men to have to do this thing, right? In these certain incidences, we've been like, okay, that's a fair thing to ask. That
Can you give an
reasonable.
example of that, though?
But when I or a Rabbit here are like, you know what, this is a problem. It doesn't happen tons of times, but it happens enough that maybe one of the solutions we should look at is mandatory paternal testing, not because we think that all our women are whores or whatever, but it is just the truth that some people are bad actors, some women are going to do this, and it's just like a safety measure for people, because I don't know how
again,
about
well,
all
and
these
to be
guys?
clear,
is ridiculous.
it was to add someone's
testing
name to a
welfare.
birth certificate without their consent.
Somebody in my
Well,
chat
yeah, I mean,
were confusing
fair.
MRAs with
Yeah,
incels,
exactly.
which
It's
I think
fair.
is a fair point.
There's
a huge overlap.
But most
men's rights advocates.
fathers are
MRA is
present
men
at
rights
the birth
advocates.
of their children. I don't know what the statistics are, but I don't think that most children born are only the most of the times the father is present. I don't know what the stats are. Do most children come to
the
this
women are
world
always
without
present.
fathers?
I don't know why we even need child support laws,
Thank you.
because there's no issue with male fathers.
Okay,
What?
so Wick, I need you to answer the question, which is, what is an example of a woman bringing up a very minor thing that's not a big societal thing, and everyone treating it like it is, and not dismissing them? Because you know what? Show me that, I will dismiss them and say, hey, this sucks on your individual level. This is not a widespread thing.
So
No, don't dismiss them.
I will dismiss them. Women complain too much.
men complain too much too. But here's the thing. I think that, child support laws are a pretty good one, right? We have
that is a real
child
problem.
Support law. Okay, hold on. Do you think most men leave their wives and
No.
abandon their
This
kids?
is a widespread problem for men, in that child court is disproportionately sexist to men. They view men as, like bad caretakers. They view them as untrustworthy, and they will not give them custody in cases where they deserve custody. They will charge them and like make them pay child support when they shouldn't be, in cases where they should actually be the ones who's taking care of the kid. This is a real thing that I think you should be advocating for, and that's not like an incel thing, because it is a widespread thing, because lots of people deals with it, and it's not painting women as untrustworthy. It's showing that courts are very biased against men, which is a very valid thing to talk about.
But I would look into that stat a
Mhm.
little bit more as well, Soy Pill, because there are stats to show that in a lot of the vast majority of cases when there is a divorce, most men don't even seek custody. They just
Yeah, I've
completely
seen that too. I've seen that too.
My
yeah.
dad got custody of me pretty easy, and my mom was
Yeah,
paying child
and in
support.
cases where men do seek child's not
Mhm.
custody, where in cases where men do seek custody, they get it either full or partial, like 50% of the time. So
Well, I'd say probably because in the situations where men are going to fight the stereotype that a child needs their mother more than their father in their daily life, they're probably fighting for custody because there's some egregious action happening, and that's going to make them a better candidate for the court to give them custody than the mother.
Or they love their
That
kids.
is very
or they
true.
love their kid,
Sometimes
yeah. But also,
typically men
also,
get
like, what-
custody when the mother is like very
but also like
unwell.
why do so many men just like completely not not even want custody, right? So
Because the child needs their mother.
Because they don't want to babysit their kids.
I was told my entire life a
men
child
can
needs
lactate
their
too.
mother.
Children need
you know,
both of
men
their
should
parents, in
lactate
They
too.
do.
actuality.
Men should lactate too. Men should lactate too.
I'm just gonna be
Shouldn't
honest.
be
I'm just gonna be
breastfeeding.
honest with you guys. I haven't heard yet why my rhetoric is incel adjacent. I haven't been convinced. Do we have
Quick W.
stronger evidence?
Well, I can probably lace. I don't think it is, but I can give you an argument, I guess.
If
But
you want.
I don't think it is personally. I mean, and this is actually more to you, Rabid Wombat, because you were asking, well, how is this incel? How is this incel to Soy Pill a few times, and I just kind of put it like this, right? When you hear, let's say you come across somebody, you have no idea who they are, but they're talking about surplus value and the means of production, they're probably a Marxist. Probably. Not always, but probably. If you see someone talking about the Jews or did they really kill 6 million, they're probably a Nazi. Not always, but probably, right? If you come across somebody who's talking about cucking and paternity tests, they're probably an incel. Not always, but probably.
Okay, but part of the problem, and I agree, is that if you called me a men's rights advocate, as opposed to the women on this panel who are women's rights advocates, there is a completely different approach to me than there would be to them, right? Just the
think that that's
concept of
because
advocating for men puts you into that biased negative stereotype. And I think there's some value to that. I think it's a little earned. I'll give you that. But there needs to be some room for that conversation to happen with good actors. Wick is one of them.
I agree, but I also think that the difference is that women didn't have the same rights as men for a long time, so I think that the context is going to be different just because of the history behind it. And also, I would say that the majority of issues that men face systematically are a result of patriarchy. And I think it's good for men and women and anyone of any other gender to work together
What's
to
the patriarchy?
I would say a system in which men hold power.
Which men?
Well, it depends
Like
on
what
country to
percentage
country,
of men?
but the wealthiest men typically. Um,
Do you
Like
think
I
we
would agree that
live-
men and women are both victims of patriarchy, and it's the bulk of men and the bulk of women that are victims.
Do you think
and
we
should be
live
partners in
currently
defeating it.
today in a patriarchy?
Before Roe v. Wade was overturned, I would have said no, but we're sliding back quickly because access to abortion and birth control is like essentially the only way for women to be able to compete in the marketplace in the same way that men are.
This
And
is
so
good
I
practice,
think that
Wick. We should debate what the meaning of patriarchy is for 2 hours.
Oh,
That's
God.
what you and
oh yeah,
Angela are
because
gonna
you're
do.
gonna get stuck. Yeah, you're gonna be stuck doing that. So I do think before
crazy, man.
2022, I would have said no. I think we have in many ways pretty much evened out equally. But now I think we are back to square one.
Hey, men can't get abortions either, and I think that's
We're definitely not back to square one. We're definitely back to
I
square one.
Men do
Like
get
I
abortions.
feel like I don't know. I'm stressed
Hey.
out about it. I don't like it.
I do think that oh fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say. Never mind.
It's okay.
One moment.
$2 from Cersei to say put me in after address these claims. We'll open it up later. Don't worry. I got time to kill tonight, right? So we might do that. Pebble
Oh, you
keeper.
know what?
I'm going to open my panel up to advice for men if anyone in the chat has questions after this. And Xerxes, you're more than welcome to join, and we can talk about how you're not an incel, maybe.
I do remember what I was going to say now is I don't think it really matters if we call it like a patriarchy or not, right? I think the point is that for like the vast majority of history, like these terms like patriarchy, it doesn't matter, right? We can agree that like for the vast majority of history, a disproportionate amount, well, most women and most men, right? Vast majority of women and most men as well, were oppressed by people who generally like had more power than them, right? And the people who held that power were in general men, right? So yeah.
Okay.
Married
What
men.
kind of men?
Married
Yeah,
men.
$5 from Pebble Keeper to say, I don't believe that anyone on this panel screws. Really, Pebble Keeper? Not a single one of us?
Is it
Do
the
you see
most
screws? Do you see like
I have a girlfriend. I have a
I
girlfriend,
don't
man.
screw.
I
make
have
love.
a child. I have
I don't know
evidence
what,
of at least
this
having
person-
sex
this
once.
person is right. It is completely sealed up. It is like there's nothing there now. It's sealed.
$10 from Alexander Rin to say, how do you stop the state from taking your genetics and using them for other purposes?
That's
What
true.
the-
I feel
How
like
is
the
that
conspiracy.
related?
No. It's because he's like the paternity test thing. If it's mandatory, he'd be more worried about the state using your genetics than he would be about women lying about the paternity test. And you know what? I honestly think that's a valid concern.
Well, I
Again,
mean,
to
because
be
if your
fair,
third
it's
cousin, if your
only-
third cousin did 23andMe, it's out there.
Yeah,
pretty much.
I don't know.
You're
Like
stuck.
people
The
are
state
giving up
has it.
their
Yep.
giving up their.
Listen, chat. Just give Trump your cum. Do it right now.
I'm sending it to him in the
Do
mail.
not come.
Do not
Do
come.
not come.
Do not come.
Okay, I just want to say
They're not
to
sending their
women-
best.
to the few women that are in this chat, okay? And I'm about to speak out too, okay?
All
No
three of
offense,
them.
Wick, but to the few women that are in this in
All
these
three of
audience,
them, and they're all on the panel. But go
three
ahead.
of them, you should not date men with high body counts because their penises get
True.
worn down and
They
they
do.
become cone shaped from all the shit chafing. So you should really be.
They get all squished. Yeah.
Worn out. Men
It's-
are worn out.
It's like literally a cone. It's like it's horrifying. It's
And it
terrible.
comes out like cottage cheese. It's just
And
a
they're
horrible
incapable of
experience
pair
all
bonding
around.
after two partners. And men
They
are
are.
We
just
should
used up.
shame men. I actually stand on that. We should shame men with high body counts. It's actually kind
I
of
agree with
disgusting.
that. I actually do agree with you on that
Yeah.
mooncake because I think actually in reality, like it
What's
is
a high
harder
body
for
count
men
for a man?
in general, it is harder for men to get laid than women, right? And if a man has a very high body count, that probably means that he.
Okay, what's a high body
This is
count?
the same conversation we were having in
more than
private
12.
Stardust.
Let me finish.
More
Let me
than
finish.
12.
Yeah, and men it's harder for men to get laid, and that means that they have a high body count. I don't know what a high I don't know if I would say 12, but yeah, I understand
12?
Mooncake's point. If they have
At
a
what
high
age?
body count, it is more likely that they are not practicing any discretion in the people that they're
Yeah.
sleeping with, and they are not practicing any they're not practicing the ideas of commitment. Why the fuck would they stay committed to me if they have a habit of just
Okay.
sleeping around with whoever they want to and practicing no
Okay,
discretion?
but 12 isn't high, especially if you're like 30.
What
That's
is
not-
high? What's high, Stardust? What's high?
I
I
don't
think
I say like 50 is high. That's like
50
a high
is
body count.
high, right? But
Yeah, if you're like
Really
30
high,
and you
holy
look
cow.
like 50 people, I'm like,
It's gonna
whoa.
be subjective to each person. I think it's going to be subjective to each person.
What if you had one
based
orgy
on
and
their
then got
age.
married? Like that's
One
What
orgy.
if-
How big was
just
the
one
orgy?
orgy.
50
gonna have-
people. You hit
Okay,
all
but
of them.
what if
Did you go to
we
AL's
decide
birthday
to take
party? What went
everyone's
on, right?
What if we took everyone's advice and decided not to get married until we were 30, but we didn't decide to be nuns until then, and we just decided to have some casual encounters once a month for 10 years? You're at 100.
Yeah,
Once a
but
month for 10 years is a lot.
how
Yep.
much discretion are you practicing there,
Yeah.
right? Like
I'm at least once a month. I'm being discreet.
Yeah, he's vetting them for 3 weeks and fucking them on the 4th. And
No,
then,
it's
I-
gross.
wait,
Like,
hold
how
on.
often are you getting tested?
This seems like moralizing sex.
You lack like
I'm here for
self-control.
it.
I think it's
Yeah,
just like they
self-control.
should be shamed. It's like I don't know, if you can't control yourself.
Shame the
Okay.
whores.
Look, all I'm
I
saying
meant
is,
like sex
without knowing
addicts before
everyone's
that
body
that
count
are
on
really...
this panel, we shouldn't shame body counts.
Oh, look who's
No,
over
I'm here
12.
for it as the
Good.
pseudo-conservative. I am here for the
Let's
shame.
reveal the
Hold on.
numbers, guys.
I think
Go
12 is
ahead.
actually a pretty good number. I
Yeah,
agree with
12 is a
Mooncake.
good
12's
number.
solid for men.
It's pretty normal.
I think my point is that I actually think I don't know if
Well, no,
shaming.
Mooncake says anyone over 12, right?
Yeah, anyone
Anyone
over 12.
over
I would
12,
say
yeah.
maybe not
That's the
shaming, but you
limit.
should be highly suspicious of men, and you should vet them very, very heavily if they have a high body
Yeah.
count. Because
So-
it could be the case that they're just magnetically charismatic, or it could be that they have no fucking discretion. They
No.
don't practice any self control, and they will literally sleep with anything. And why the fuck would they stay committed
And
to
they'll
it?
never
to
be
you? And they can
satisfied.
sleep with anything
They'll
that
never be
moves.
satisfied.
You're literally describing a 30-year-old that had one partner a year since they were 18, and you're calling them some fire hose dick whore.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem
Like
fair.
when I think about high body count, I knew a
12
man that was a
is
sex addict that would sleep with like he slept with like 8 people in a weekend once. That
Jesus.
to me is like living
Yeah.
a life like
I know
that,
some like triple digit people, and that's when
where
it's like, holy
that's
shit,
kind
like,
of crazy.
Yeah.
I think it's different for gay people though. I know a lot of gay people with crazy
Why?
high body counts, but it's
Wait,
different in the gay
why, though?
community.
if anything,
Why?
Because they're
based on
genetically
Because, okay, listen to me,
promiscuous, of
listen,
course.
listen to me,
You
listen to me,
know?
listen to me, listen to me.
Men work with
Len,
men, and women are the
men
same.
have very, very, very high libidos typically and have less discretion, and there's less of an issue with like you might kill each other. Like straight women typically sleep with men less because the dude could probably kill you, you know? But if you're 2 dudes and all the dudes want to fuck and it's normal and there's a pretty much equal strength thing going on, I think it makes sense that you fuck like crazy.
But
Like I have very very rarely been like, when I've slept with women, I have rarely been like, should I do this? Is this dangerous for me? Blah blah blah. I just go for it. With men, I'm like, I don't know about this one. I don't want to die.
I
just
never
feel
thought of putting whoring into weight
I think
classes,
there's
but now
like-
you've intrigued me.
I mean it. I mean it. It's like
I don't know.
So-
I don't know if I necessarily agree on that aspect. I think that it just, when it comes to different demographics, obviously men working with men, they're going to have more sex, right? Like men want sex more often. They're going to have sex
Mhm.
more often because they're all
I mean,
men working.
Yeah,
But
I've never met a woman who enthusiastically engages in sex, to be clear.
No, that's not what I'm saying. You're being okay. What I'm
No, I'm
saying
just
is
being stupid.
you're being, yeah. Okay. So what I'm saying is, like, you should be suspicious, right? If a dude
Yeah.
practices, 12 is not a number that I would choose. I think that what Charlie is saying, like 8 people in a week, is like is gross to me. But
a
yeah.
weekend. A
Well, when I'm
weekend.
considering
2
A
days.
weekend,
it's
yeah.
like it's like, if I don't know if you guys have heard of like human papillomavirus. It's usually a virus that men carry, and they'll give it to women, but women get cervical cancer, so they get a lot of cancers from those things. So when I talk about men sleeping around, it's actually just a danger to women itself.
is.
Just talk about like heterosexual
Get
relationships,
the
right?
vaccinated. Get vaccinated.
And
Go to
so-
school 9.
So
Okay.
it's like, it still
How
carries
many
that.
women,
I got
like how many married women think that their husbands are being like faithful to them, and like on the low, like their husband is like going and seeing prostitutes and stuff? Like, yeah, it happens quite often.
Don't date married
Actually, wait,
men.
I got a question for Soipo real quick. So you talk about the orgy, okay? Let's say you have there's an orgy of 50 people, but
Okay.
of the 50 people in the orgy, you only have sex with say 10 of them. Is your body count now 10 or 50?
10. Just
10?
because you
Okay.
watched 40 people have sex doesn't mean you
wait.
didn't.
If we're
you
counting
fucked all of them.
watching people have sex as body count, then
No, we're not, is the point.
Okay.
Then we're
'cause
all
then-
in the
then,
probably. We're all in the thousands.
Okay, let's
Yeah,
keep.
my
Raw
ancestors
horse.
smile down upon me knowing the amount of boobs I've seen, to be
True.
honest.
Let's keep making me a little more money. Okay, $5 from Ace to say an entire stream without Soy Pill making Tolly lick his boots to prove how loyal she is. Downvoted. Stream is backsliding. Step up the hate, bros. She's on
my God.
vacation. Otherwise, I guarantee that would probably come to be the
That is
soccer-
lesbian abuse, Soipo. I can't believe it.
Hey, look,
Yeah, that's
I learned it
crazy.
from watching them.
Okay, $2
Oh my
from
God.
Lithium.
You can't say that. What the
Statistic
fuck?
isn't accurate, by the way, because I'm pretty sure that
That's
study
pretty based.
applies to like even relationships that they had before they came out.
I think the statistic of
Yeah, I think
lesbian
it does
abuse
too,
has
actually,
more
yes.
to do with the fact that lesbians are more likely to report abuse. So
That is also true, but
That is
again, it could
also true,
also include heterosexual relationships
Mm.
Yeah, before they
that
decided
they
they're
had in
lesbian,
the
yeah.
past.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Just so he's
Well,
saying women
time out.
complain more.
Somebody
And
in
women
my-
complain more. True.
Somebody in my chat asked a question. They said, "What if you just put a dick in your mouth at the orgy for a second, for like a single second?"
That counts as one body.
That's
Here,
one?
I'll say this.
It's a single
If
second
you-
I think
if you
rule.
so.
put-
I think you have
wait,
to
wait,
have
Star,
the
Star,
dick in there
Star.
for a lot longer.
If you put
No,
50,
if
if
you
you
put it
asked
in
your
your mouth-
girlfriend or boyfriend, hey, like, what's your body count? And they said 2. And then they said, but I put 50 dicks in my mouth for 1 second at a time each. Would that not feel like that was a kind of a burying the lead?
Yeah, it was a lie. That's a lie.
Yeah,
It was
okay.
very-
Burying
Yeah.
something.
Yeah,
$2.
burying the dick in the mouth, of
Doesn't
course.
matter if
Yeah.
it's 1 second, it counts. Okay.
I think that counts.
$2 from Lithium to say paternity fraud also hurts the children. True. $5 from Mr. Wise Guy Plays to say the soy pill thinks it's not a big deal whether a guy is going to have to spend the next 18 years of his life paying child support. He's delusional.
That's not what I
No
said. To be
one said
clear,
that.
I do think it's a big deal when people commit paternity fraud. It is unfair. It is unjust. And the court is more likely to let women get away with it when they do it. The thing I'm saying is that this does not happen very frequently. And I don't think we need a societal wide solution of paternity testing every child, because I think doing that is indicative of a ideology that women are these like lying, conniving people, when this does happen, but it does not happen that often. It's still a problem.
Okay.
And to be fair, that was not the argument that was made. The argument that was made was that you either need the man to consensually sign it, or if you want to put the name on there without consent, you would need to back it up with a paternity test.
And I agree. I think you should back it up with a signature. If the man doesn't want to be on the thing, he doesn't need a whole genetic test to say, hey, that's not my signature. Just take it to court. It should take not a lot of time.
Yeah, I don't think he should
Hold
be
on, just
compelled to
real quick.
provide a genetic
Should.
test.
I didn't say.
Okay, in the chat, someone just said 1/3 isn't a lot to soy pills. So I've gone into this myself on my channel, and there is a stat floating around that says that 30% of men are raising kids that aren't theirs. However,
Against their will?
people in like the MRA community or whatever, they miscite that stat all the time, because what it actually is 30% of men who have had a paternity test are raising kids that are not theirs. And if you're getting a paternity test, you already think that maybe she's cheated on you, so it's gonna be more selecting in that direction. It's actually much less than 30%.
Great pivot, Dev. Wick, I don't know if you can find a way to shoehorn this in, but did you know that Andrew Wilson's wife has like 3 kids from 2 different marriages before marrying him? And like, I think
wasn't it
that
3
is-
baby daddies?
I'm
It's
not
somebody-
going to bring up people's families in a Christian debate like that.
I think it's hilarious. Not because I think there's anything wrong with
Wait, who's
that. I
this?
think this is Andrew Wilson. His wife has
Oh,
like a
big
bunch
papa
of kids.
fascist,
out of-
eh?
Yeah.
Oh.
So it's like, I think that's fine, but his entire ideology would paint him as a beta male cuck for doing that. So I think it's funny that he is in a marriage where that happened.
Yeah, I find that distasteful to use as a debate tactic, but $10.
Fair enough.
Alexander Rin. If you want private testing, who pays for it? How do you stop companies from jacking up their prices now that it's mandatory? $5
Universal testing.
$5
We have
from
universal
Chernobog
health care here.
Rebellion to say the assumption that men are more violent than women and men have to act accordingly to not put out bad vibes. Soy pill. Y'all talked about that earlier. This was all in caps, but yeah.
That's empirically true. Men are more violent than women, or at least cause more damage. Like, I don't know what you want.
Zephyr Hash for $5 to say, for your info, rates of cheating in France are so high that paternal testing is banned there. So it can and has got.
Don't
Yeah, but that's
don't
France,
tell.
man. There's a lot
France.
going on there.
Yeah, they every time they breathe, they're fucking a different maid or something. Like, it's not.
That's
really
like
a comparable situation.
cheating is like the thing to do there. Evidently, like I don't know.
Why is it banned though? Like that, it would.
It would destroy. It's like the reason they don't release the Epstein files. The entire government would just fall apart once everyone knew.
Yeah, it's don't ask, don't tell for cheating.
$5 from Ace to say, if you come across someone that is okay with PDF files on their Discord, they're probably a PDF file. Nice logic, Dev. Thank you for the $5.
Oh my god! Wait, is that Ace? This guy's been stalking me for over a fucking year.
Oh,
okay.
I didn't know you had a stalker.
I have many of them.
Wow.
I have many of
I
them.
retract my earlier statement that say women are the only ones with stalkers, which is a thing I said
That's
and
not
believe.
true. Right?
No, men do get stalkers,
No, I'm
and I
joking.
don't
I
want to
know
discount
that's
the
not-
fact that like. Okay, sorry. But I do want to.
Well,
I know.
to be honest-
male streamers who have had people be really creepy to them. It just happens way less often than
Yes.
female streamers getting
I
creeps on
don't
them.
know if that's
I've had
true.
I've had dozens
No,
of
it is.
dedicated
It is.
fucking A-logging haters solely because I came out as explicitly anti-Trump. It's
But
fucking
But do they want
ridiculous.
to
Be clear,
fuck you?
it's
Do they want
haters.
to
It's not.
to
Yeah, it's not
grape
these
you?
like.
Do they
It's
want
not
to
these
grape you?
psychotic rapists. Yeah, like.
I mean,
it's
some of
not
them
no.
want to rape me, but
Haters
it's not
can
normal.
be
No.
super. Okay, I don't know if that's exactly true, Charlie. I don't have statistics on this, but I
Wick,
think
has
that-
anyone made AI porn of you?
actually, yeah.
Yeah,
I
same
was
here,
gonna say,
actually. Same here, yeah.
Now that you mention it,
I'm doing it.
That's
right
crazy.
It is. It is. And I think that as you get to a certain level of notoriety, man or woman, you're just going to be subject to that shit, right? Like,
Yeah,
and that's
that's
Yeah,
true.
but like I think
unfortunate.
like you can't just
what's the Tumblr link?
I'm not going to give you. I'm not going to show you my AI.
I will say for women, I do think it happens a lot earlier, where you get like psycho people who keep showing up. You know.
Oh, yeah.
and
Yeah.
Yep.
dating
It's
bans,
also
yeah.
like I mean like okay, if I open up my DMs on Twitter or Instagram, it's full of people begging to see me naked or to look at their penis or to tell
Why are
them
you
that their
leaking my
penis is
DMs?
small.
Okay. Anyway.
All right, well stop asking, Wick. I'm sick of it. But like, is that your DMs? Is like, please tell me my weenie's small. Please, can I buy your nudes?
Oh, no, that's not
please,
mine.
goddess, please poop on me. Like, is that because that's all my
doesn't say
Instagram
please.
requests and Twitter DM requests. Like, I hate it.
I think
I'm
I
sick
think
of it.
the thing that bothers me is when you intentionally block people multiple times on multiple platforms, and then they go around those blocks and continue to harass
God,
you.
Yep,
And it's
yep,
and it's
yep.
not like it's not like positive. Like it's really negative and really gross stuff that they say to you, right? Like
Mhm.
yeah.
I
Okay.
think that could really wear
$20 from Dr. Adam Refriended says a lot of incels, quote unquote, are treating women as equals, calling for DNA tests, pointing out double standards, etc. Labeling that incel things proves women live on easy mode, where society excuses and protects them no matter what.
Wick,
What
do you
the
agree with
hell are
that?
you
Do you agree with
talking
that,
about?
Wick?
I don't.
Okay, cool. That's
Okay.
more incel Jason than anything you've
Okay,
said, to be clear.
But that's my whole point. I'm going to get through these. But yes, that's my whole point. Was when you call my incel, when you call my rhetoric incel adjacent, I think that's it's.
You know what? Yeah, to be clear, I'll say this. After this conversation, just to wrap up, I think I'm much less concerned about my friend treading into incel territory. I think you like teeter on the line, not of being an incel, but being outside of what I would consider a completely out of the Venn diagram. So it's like, oh, you just like poked your head out into the incel room and
Just a
like
tip.
whispered an incel-y
No.
thingy, but you're not even close to being an incel.
Just the tip. Okay.
Just the tip, yeah.
$5 from Jordan Rogers to say, wouldn't mandatory paternity tests mean that if it is your kid, then it is your responsibility? Doesn't this also protect mothers from derelict dads? $5.
I mean, yeah, in situations where that's like, something like a situation between two
dispute.
people, like a dispute. Yeah, but not like, your wife gave birth and then you're like, okay, paternity test, like I would leave someone if they did that to me. I'd be like, the fuck? I just gave birth to your fucking child.
Yeah,
To
never
be
even
clear,
occurred to
if
me to ask
there
my
was
wife.
a completely costless, like as soon as it happens, you just immediately know who the dad is, way to do this. I think there's probably like very good arguments for that. There's no reason not to. But this is just like means testing like welfare and saying like, oh, we should drug test every welfare recipient. It costs a fuck ton of money. Most of these people aren't doing drugs. And even though I don't want people on welfare to be doing drugs, it just does not make sense to implement this societal wide test that doesn't really fix the problem and actually ends up just causing more problems than it is. But ideally, if we could just know and like make sure people don't dodge child support, make sure that people aren't getting charged child support that shouldn't be. Yeah, of course, it's just not feasible.
Okay.
It's a silly solution.
$5 from the Pulse to say, do women realize that men with high body counts are normally the guys that they are attracted to?
No.
No.
Okay.
I mean,
$5.
they're the ones fucking. So
Yeah, I mean,
the
like-
data
At least all the celebrities.
lies,
Yeah.
right? So
Well, I mean, there's like, I guess like with men, there's people you're chill to sleep with and people you would, not date. Maybe you'd sleep with them, but you wouldn't date them.
Yeah,
Women
exactly.
are
There's
just
men.
intimidated that
Whores.
men have game. That's all I'm
I
saying.
feel like we put men in categories where like there's a men that like, yeah, you'll hook up with, but you would never marry them. And those are usually like, I'm gonna be
They're
honest, the high body
whores.
count men. It's like, yeah, we can fool around, but would I marry you? No, you're not marriage material.
Wait.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
well, let
you
me
can
ask
have a
you-
high body count because you're fucking all these guys with high body counts, so that's fine. But you wouldn't marry them. But should people not judge you then by the same metric that you're judging these men?
His
Wait,
body
wait,
count
wait,
is your
say it
body
again?
count.
With a man
You said
with a high body count. I would not sleep with a man with that high.
No, I'm asking
body-
Mooncake. You guys clearly aren't in alignment here.
wait, sorry. Wait. So repeat your question. I didn't hear
So
the first
you'll
part.
sleep with a man with a high body count, but you won't marry him because he does have a high body count. Now, I'm
Um,
assuming if you will do this, you must also have at least some sort of high body count because you're sleeping with people that you wouldn't
it
marry at some sort of
depends.
frequency.
It's like if you meet someone who does, but you're kind of like you know this about them, but you're kind of like, okay, like we can talk, like like a situationship. Sure, but it's like I'm not gonna progress any further with this guy because like
Gross.
no, he's not marriage material.
Hmm.
Yeah, but that's
Okay.
still +1 on your number, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's why you have to like
Didn't count
kind of
'cause
keep
I
your
didn't like you.
number.
So you
You keep your
selectively
number at a
sleep
good
with men
thing.
you wouldn't marry and then get married at the end of it.
Wait, say that again?
You're selectively kind of being a little choosy about very high body count men
Love
that you'll
that
sleep with
Soy's
here
attacking
and
the
Yeah.
there,
woman now.
and
Yeah,
then
I'd
you'll
be
get
like really
married.
selective about it. If it's like a guy who's like, oh, this guy's cool, like he's funny, whatever. Just if I'm like super
I'm becoming an incel right now. This is
and
the
then
alt
yeah,
incel
I
punchline.
might.
This
This is yeah.
stream.
I'm an
it just
incel.
feels like a bunch of random men. No, of course not. But there's gonna be like those, people who stand out. But no, I would never marry one. No, of course
Well,
not.
let me ask you this question.
will
I think
say-
eliminates some stuff, right? Who would you avoid? A man with an acceptable body count that has had 12 one-year relationships, or a man with a body count of 12?
12 one-year relationships, probably. Oh, actually, that's a good question. I don't know. Maybe. Oh, I don't know. Having 12 relationships like that is a little questionable of why they ended each year.
What if they're 60?
Yeah, I
So maybe
agree.
just the one with 12 bodies, maybe. Not too
Because I
sure.
think serial monogamy is scarier than someone
Yeah.
who's maybe just slept with one person a year. If you're just going relation to relation, that's scary. That's weird.
Yeah,
What's
like
going
I
on?
think
Why
that's a
can't you be
bigger
alone?
predictor of problems in a relationship than how many people someone has slept with.
What I'm talking about, like for me, like my standard, and obviously this is like a personal thing, would be 12. If someone has 15, I'm not really gonna complain. My issue, and I'm gonna be like honest, is once you get up to like 30 plus, it just says to me that you just have no like self-control. And that's like, just a big red flag. That's just like if you are constantly sleeping around, it's like, can I trust you? Are you a very, I don't know, trustworthy person? Are you someone who can be satisfied with just having one person for maybe the rest of your life? I don't really think so personally. And I think we see men specifically struggle with that when they do have high body counts.
Okay.
So let me share a little bit of my personal history.
You guys hate me making
No
money. You
doxing.
hate it.
Sorry.
Hate it.
Sorry.
Okay, but go ahead.
Just really quick. So in my 20s, I was very emotionally unavailable, and I did date around. And then when I hit 30, I had a crisis point where I was like, oh my God, I've thrown away the love of several very good women. I've spent a lot of time just like hooking up and stuff like that. What if that was every good woman that was ever going to be put in front of me? And from that point on, I dated with intent for marriage. And within I had like 2.5 year relationship that broke up because she didn't want kids and I did. And then at that point I met my wife and I went on from there. My body count is higher than what you would deem acceptable based on my 20s. But I think the mindset that you would want in a partner is what I had in my 30s. And you would have written me off based off of the number from my 20s as opposed to the man that I evolved to in my 30s.
I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible to evolve. I don't think that'd be fair, but I do think like seeing that would just be a future predictor. Where unfortunately there are a lot of men, and I can like even use like unfortunately one of my brothers, for example, that I know is in like the triple digits, that will never be able to have like a stable relationship in that way, even being a lot older. Because it's like once you get to like I think those higher body counts, you just really can't help yourself. And I'm not saying that's everyone, right? I do think you can change. Well, some men can change, but I think on average, I would say it just is a future predictor. And I think it's just easier to find someone that maybe has certain values that you're kind of looking for. And I wouldn't want someone who sees sex as just like, I don't know, like shopping around, if that makes sense.
Here's what
Does
we're
or
gonna do.
did not?
Hold on, real quick. Here's what we're gonna do. Okay. I'm gonna finish up these super chats. We're gonna get closing statements, and then we're gonna open up the panel. You can stay if you like, but you don't have to. How's that? Everything good?
Oh, can you drag a Zerson when you're done?
Yeah, absolutely. He's
Sick. Okay.
gonna be a thing. Okay. $5 from the Pulse to say, Because of women, hold on. Stop. Hold on. Because of women obsession with height, should women expect guys who are 6 feet or taller to automatically have a side chick?
No.
Now, can I rant about the height stuff a little bit? Can I rant about it a little bit?
Briefly.
I am 5'6", and when I date men, I like them about my height. I like a short guy. I don't really care for tall men. My dad is really tall. I feel like I already have a tall man. It's my dad, and so every
Charlie,
time a man
you cannot complain about your
"Oh, your
DMs being
penis there."
exploding and then say, I like short, unconventionally attractive men. You are asking
Hey,
for it.
whatever.
I'm sorry.
I mean,
Cartoons
maybe
get in there.
not for the anyway. Okay, but the thing is that a lot of very tiny women, like 5'3" and under, do not recognize when a man is 6 feet and above because they will have boyfriends. I had a friend who was 5'3". Her boyfriend was my height, and she was like, "Yeah, he's like 9," and I was like, "No, the fuck, he's not." And you can't tell because you're itty bitty boo boo baby size, and that's okay. But the thing is that the dating apps make it, create the 6 foot preference because then you can tell. I guess anyway. My point is I think that the height thing is that in an era in which there is economic equality for the most part between men and women, I think that cisgender women and cisgender men, heterosexuals, want to recreate. They want to artificially manufacture extreme visual sexual difference because it arouses them, and it's the only way that they can nut. So that's what they're doing. That's why they like the weird height disparities, is because they need to manufacture an extreme difference because it makes them horny because there's no longer economic inequality. Anyway, that's my fucking
Because
theory.
there's
That's
no
my
longer
theory.
hold on,
This is
just so
my
I get this
theory.
right. Hold on, no. Because there's no longer economic inequality, we need to recreate the inequality, but in height, so we can nut.
I don't fucking do this. I don't do this, but there are absolutely cisgender heterosexual women and men who participate in this. Are you telling me
Don't
I'm
take
wrong?
that
Listen,
so high.
I had that fucking tweet. I had that insane tweet that got millions and millions of views, and it was full of tiny women telling me why they only like big men, and that was my conclusion: is they want
It's not
to feel
because
like
of capitalism.
itty bitty boo boo babies. They
It's not
want to
because
feel
of
tiny
it.
because it makes
Okay.
them horny. It makes them horny.
Yeah. Can I just say, just for a white pill for a lot of guys in the audience, I know plenty of women who, and I always thought I found that standard really stupid myself. I'd be like, why do you need like a guy who's over 6 foot? I know
That's
plenty
because
of
you're like
women
4'2", though.
I need that.
I'm not 4'2". I am not 4'2". Anyways, what I'm saying is, I've known plenty of women who are like around 5'1", 5'2", right? Who who would tell me all the time, like, oh, I want a guy who's 6 feet or taller. And so many of them ended up marrying guys who were the same height as them. I know one girl in particular who married a guy who is like an inch shorter than her. So, it just, get off the dating apps, I would say. Like,
Any guy out there, guys, if you're worried about a woman writing you off, first of all, I'm like 5'10" probably. And if I've never had this be a problem, because any woman who would not date you because you're not tall enough, you don't want to date. It's just not worth it. That's a totally shitty reason.
That's
True.
As an actual pretty short guy, yes, definitely
when you
true.
meet somebody in person and you have chemistry, honestly, all those standards go out the window. They really do.
$10 from Alexander Rin to say we should add men's body count to every subsequent woman they sleep with. That's more likely to indicate risk of STD. Women would start avoiding those men immediately.
Is this fucking Death Note where like they get the years when you kill someone?
Yeah,
with Death Note?
the cumulative body count of every man you've slept with is your real body count.
True. $20 from Dr. Adam Refriended to say, LOL, this is hilarious. Star talking about high body counts and other women and simp pill dudes agreeing with them, basically agreeing with incels, but since women are saying it, it's fine. Says a lot about these people. Shake my head. Okay.
To be honest, both Star and Mooncake's body count rhetoric is incel adjacent as well. In fact, we should probably put them on trial.
I think like sex.
Can I just explain
crazy.
my reasoning for this? My reasoning is, one, again, I will say I disagree with Mooncake on the 12 thing. I think you have to kind of evaluate on a, like,
Give a number.
recent basis. No,
Give a
like
number.
recent.
12's
yeah,
a bit low. Let's be honest. 12's a bit low.
No,
12 is so low. 12
Guys,
is super
the average
low.
for most people is like 4 to 8, men and women. Just to be clear, like
Listen,
Whoa, 8 people in a week. 8 people in a week. Like you want to look at like a shorter term and
No,
more
a
recent,
weekend.
right?
It was in a weekend. It was 8
I'm
people in
not
a
talking
weekend.
about your example, Charlie. I'm not talking about your example. I'm talking about
was
my
scary.
standard. My standard is like if you're
8 a
sleeping with
week?
like 8 people in a week, that's yeah, you're kind of being
That's crazy.
really
That's fucking crazy. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
even 5 a week, you know, like
Oh.
or you know, like
Every day that
Yeah.
Y ends on Y and twice on Sunday, right? Like, I don't know.
I don't like that. Like and I think the reason why I think that is like there's a little like I think obviously it's a problem when women do it too, right? But like you want to look at like recent and like short periods of time and like why are they doing this, right? And there's always going to be exceptions to the cases. But like people who kind of engage in that really risky behavior, it's a red flag, and it should be a red flag, man or woman. But I do think that for men, because it's harder to get laid, it is a little bit more of a red flag for me.
I got 4 super chats more to go through. Right, let's get through them and let's get to closings. Let's open up the pit. Okay, $2 from Ace to say Ace is hardly an uncommon name. Dev, you dolt. $5.
No. Was I bamboozled?
I guess I don't know. $5 from Audacity to say the only time Wick is incel adjacent is when he talks to us in the Discord.
oh, so you're hiding your power level, buddy. Okay.
$10 from Dr. Adam Refriended to say I'm confused. Simp pill. How does treating women as equals as actual people make it incel adjacent? How can you interpret my super chat as being close to incel rhetoric?
So is he the one who said we need to paternity test every single woman?
Yeah,
like when they give
I
birth.
think so. Yeah.
Right. So it's like, first of all, it's not treating women as equals because it's impossible to paternity test a woman because of course she gave birth unless you like did a fetus swap at some point. So this is stupid. But also because the implication, and I've said this a million times, that if we need to do that, it's because we need to litmus test every single woman. We need to dump all this money into these tests because so many of them are conniving. The incel adjacent stuff is the idea that you think this is some huge epidemic problem of women lying about it when it's a problem that just doesn't happen that much.
Okay.
So you do end up having babies switched around in hospitals, right? So maybe you should be testing women too.
What if we make a compromise where men, it's required for this paternity test like when you give birth for a birth certificate, but men every month have to get STD tested for the rest of their lives if they're married.
Why not both get STD tested?
Yeah, I think both of them should, honestly. I got HPV from a woman once, all right? She was the one giving it around, despite what Mooncake is saying. Women spread disease. They're cootie-infested freaks.
Who do you think the men are getting it from, right? It's not their gay lover.
Okay, last one.
Well, maybe.
$5 from the Pulse to say my point is the guy who is 6 foot tall, good at talking to women, who has decent money, are more likely to have a high body count. Thank you for $5. And with that, let's get closings from people because I know some people have to go. And then we'll open it up and
actually before that, if you don't mind, I do want to ask Charlie something.
Go ahead.
A couple minutes ago, Charlie, you said something along the lines of dating is now being funneled through height or other things because capitalism has led to basically wage equality between men and women. Was that basically it?
No, my point is that my theory is that I think height has become a much more important metric is because one, dating apps have turned people into data points, and dating apps are, sort of, very much a for-profit sort of invention. But also, I think it is because with the absence of economic inequality, I do think that many men and women still kind of want to be. Sorry, you're echoing a little bit.
Oh, sorry, I forgot.
Still want to be like. Have a sort of power dynamic of some kind, and I would say in it not necessarily a harmful way. I think maybe oftentimes in like a fun, playful way. I know a lot of women who make a lot of money, who do want a man who is much bigger and stronger than them because sometimes they do want to feel like a little lady, and they don't want to feel like a high-powered, high-earning woman. And so again, I do think that is why the height thing has become so important. I think that people are trying to manufacture sexual difference to affirm their gender identities. I think that heterosexual people do this a lot. I think it is literally gender affirmation for the heterosexuals.
I just
Okay.
don't know about it. The economic
Well-
bit is what's throwing me. Okay.
Well,
what I heard-
like what? Okay, in an era in which I would say that gender is, I don't want to get into a trans debate, please, for the love of God, but I would say that that gender is, primarily, performed through certain roles. I mean, we have gender roles. Traditionally, it would be women would do child rearing and domestic chores and whatnot, and men would do, work outside of the home. We don't really have that split anymore. We have in our behaviors, and in our roles that we take on, we have all become very, very androgynous. And so I do think that for people to affirm their gender, heterosexual people, I do think that they want to kind of manufacture some sort of difference so that they do feel like women or like men in some capacity, if that makes any sense.
It does actually, because what you were saying reminded me of a paper I might have read maybe 3 weeks ago or so, and it's basically by a guy he's a Marxist, but he's also right wing, and he's also a red pillar. And I was like, okay, all right. But I read this paper, and his
I think a
hypothesis
struggle,
is basically
honestly, but go ahead.
Yeah.
good job.
Yeah. So his hypothesis basically is that feminism has ended up accelerating capitalist inequality between the classes, because beforehand, in the pre-feminist society, you would have men who they'd marry down, and then they'd have families that are basically across class between high value men and then lower value women. But now, rather than doctors and lawyers marrying their secretaries, doctors and lawyers marry other doctors and lawyers. So because we have gender equality in the workplace, the family units that come out of the pairings they're created now end up stratifying class difference a lot more. And so his solution to bring about class equality is to abolish feminism.
So I disagree strongly with the idea that people would marry across class lines, because I mean it was very much people would only marry within their class. Like the idea, the sort of pretty woman scenario is in fact a very rare one. That's why all the kind of romantic, fun Jane Austen novels are like, oh, and she was an like of the noble class, but she was not as noble and rich as him. Like like fucking Pride and Prejudice. Like these are still people who make a shit ton of money, but she doesn't make as much of a buttload shit ton fuck ton of money as Mr. Darcy. Like people do very much marry within their classes, and they always have. Like I feel like that's a very, very common misconception.
In fact, it's an
And-
incel point to bring up this idea that, like,
Yeah.
oh, average women, 5s and 6s, can just get picked up by these Instagram influencers and flown out to these islands, when in reality, it's a very, very, very small subset of the very, very, very most attractive women. And most people do just kind of
Hold
date
on.
within their looks bands and their class.
Didn't we
but-
just make that
Yeah.
argument
And-
for
and, like,
women
most-
streamers with their ugly boyfriends? Like, didn't we just make the
That is
inverse
also an
argument?
incredibly small subset, as we pointed out to Charlie. It is not
That's
the
a weird
average.
phenomenon, and I have a lot of theories about that I could talk about at length, but I think it is mostly because a lot of streamer women, before they started streaming, were just mega dorks
And hate
that didn't
themselves.
really know
Yes,
that they were
absolutely.
pretty,
Mm.
Yeah.
and also
But I
have very
can
low
confirm,
self-esteem,
Charlie,
which
I've seen
men are
photos.
mean
It's
to them
the-
all the
Haven't
time.
realized their real power
It is the
level.
former fat girl syndrome, where she doesn't know how good looking she is now after she lost all the weight. It's that
Yes.
kind of thing, I think.
Also, when you have a job that
You
is
don't know
highly
you're
focused on your
beautiful.
looks, when you're focused highly on your looks, sometimes you don't want to date a man that is like very like looks maxi focused on his own looks, because
What?
it's stressful.
Is that your looks,
Like a
Maxie?
dude, that's like cares a lot
I
about
want him
I
to
appearance,
treat me
can
for
but
my
confirm this.
money.
Wait, no,
That's
this is
too
actually so
stressful.
true. I've had so many women tell me they're insecure by the fact that I like go to the gym and they feel pressured to look better. And I'm like, sorry, like then fucking do it. Like, but this is a real phenomenon. I've had this happen.
Do you even lift?
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
man.
Okay. I do got to get to closings because I do want to open this up, and you can stay. Yeah, you're all welcome to stay as long as you like. Let's start with Charlie, and we'll end with Soypill. And in your closings, give your final verdict. Is Wick incel adjacent? Okay, Charlie, let's start with you. Go ahead.
after talking through this all, I think that Wick is incel adjacent. I think we could talk a bit more about the idea of women being coddled, perhaps more in depth, but I don't think he's incel adjacent. I do think that he needs to not suggest creators like Xerxes. No offense, Xerxes. It's just that a lot of your stuff really is like a bit. If I was an ugly guy struggling to get laid, it would just bring me down to such great pits of despair. So I think you gotta no black pill stuff. We gotta empower, the maybe socially awkward, not so cute guys, and help them get girlfriends rather than tell them that they'll never be loved ever.
Okay. Thank you for being here. Really appreciate you.
Thank
I
you
think
for
you added
having
a
me.
lot.
I had fun.
Good. Dev. You're muted, Dev. Dev. Okay, he's not here right now. Let's go to Mooncake. Mooncake, go ahead.
Okay, a couple of things. No, do I think you're insult adjacent? No, I don't think so. I think you just post like stupid memes. Honestly, I kind of feel
Guilty as
like
charged, frankly, but go ahead.
I kind of feel like in 50 Shades of Grey, if Mr. Grey was ugly, like there's no way any of that would have happened, and I don't think we consider stuff like that. And like that just is the truth. But once again, I do think that comes back to like the idea of pretty privilege. Yeah, I think that was basically it. I thought I had some other stuff, but no, I think that's it. I don't think you're insult adjacent.
Thank you.
I think you're good.
Okay, 2 out of 2, not guilties. Dev, go ahead.
I'm back. Sorry about that. Wick, you're an incel, and it's pretty based.
Okay. One pro incel. Okay, vote. 2 none.
Well,
okay, well, go ahead.
So, okay, my actual opinion is, I guess I just don't take this topic quite as seriously as you did, Soy Pill. I mean, I know you're not taking that seriously anyway, but still. Like, I've never liked the pipeline discourses because I know, like, Xander Hall, his whole thing was, I was the guy who was pulled out of the alt-right pipeline. And it's like, yeah, but you're still a retard, and the alt-right doesn't exist anymore, and the pipeline doesn't exist anymore. You know, like, the last round of discourse was a Econo Boy normalizing communist online or something, and that was also just fundamentally pipeline discourse. Like, even if you are not that thing, how much can you influence people into becoming that thing if the thing is bad? That's basically the question. And in my opinion, it's more important if you're saying things that are true than anything like that.
Based. Okay. Rabid Wombat.
So I think the most important thing we learned today was Charlie let us know that economic inequality has been solved and is no longer an issue. So I think that is great.
No way, Scott.
Now,
I mean, between
hey, this is closing statements, lady. None of that.
And that it caused capitalism to accelerate.
That's right. All very valid points, and I'm totally on her side. I think it's bad that we have bootstrap solutions for men, institutional change for women, and that it's bad if we offer bootstraps for women and institutional change for men, even if we pair it with it as a reaction to institutional change for women. Wick is not an incel. He's not a red pillar. He's not even an MRA in the negative connotation, but he is in a sphere where he wants to be able to speak to these people and affect change. He wants to be able to engage with them and not just in open conflict. You have to let them get it out. You have to commiserate a little bit on that front, like we've said. You can't just let them live with what they see in YouTube shorts and streamers that are in that red pill community. You have to start the conversation with them in a non-confrontational way, or else they'll never come to you. But does Wick do enough work to provide these reasonable takes in response to those concerns? And that's where I think he's certainly capable of it. I do take this topic seriously. I have a 6-year-old son. I look at what's available to him out there to watch, what's in my feed and what will eventually be in his feed. I would rather my son see someone like Wick or even Irrelevant than a lot of the other options.
Cersei, if you had to have your son watch Cersei or Soy Pill.
Well, so we already talked about that, and I told you there's things that I would definitely want Cersei's to him to see his take on it. I think there are some things that Soy Pill goes further. So I think if it was a sprint, Cersei's, if it was a marathon, I think Soy Pill would eventually run out of soy and get to some important stuff. You know, so we'd see. Can I say both? Can I say both? Is that a weasel out?
It's a centrist
kind of thing.
answer. Fair enough.
So exactly, I'm a centrist. So just like you are thoughtful in ensuring that you platform women, and then when you're not memeing, that you're actually taking it seriously, I want you to be careful and considerate in who you send your audience to on male topics. I think you're capable of great things in this category. You're someone I would like my son to hear. You've got some experience, some wisdom in these things, and you exist in the meat space. You're not captured online. You have experience. I want him to have takes about people who've actually gone up and talked to women in person instead of just sent them lewds in their DMs. So you're one of the good ones. Not an incel. Do more. I expect more of you.
You know what my problem is now I'm super suspicious of you because you've complimented me so much, and I'm like, well, what the fuck does this guy want?
Suspicious.
Don't worry, it'll average out over the next month.
Dude, it's more suspicious that you would have your kid watch fucking Irrelevant. Are you kidding me?
No, I'm talking like 10 years from now. So I didn't want to say Xerxes because I think he goes too far in some areas. Irrelevant is the far post. That when I have Wick and irrelevant is like the far post for me.
I do on a serious note that is, I'm honored that you would want your child to watch my content, thinking it would help him and make him a better man. So thank you.
Like
for
10
that.
years from now.
Yeah.
10 years from now.
Of course, I'm not going to talk to.
Irrelevant. I thought that Irrelevant was just like a socialist. Like what?
No.
Yes, that's actually.
He went through a transformation about 2-3 years ago and went through a journey. And I think he's still got a little ways to go, but I think he's a good example of someone who's working his way in the self-improvement area.
What did he turn into from a socialist? You from socialist to what? Like, what is he now?
Socialist.
Social democrat, sock dem, maybe.
Am I thinking of the right person?
Maybe not.
Was he a
Really?
AH relevant?
Yeah,
I thought he was very left-leaning.
Yeah, but he's not a socialist.
I always thought he was like 3 years ago.
Maybe it was 3 years ago. Anyway, we can ask him later. I'll DM him and find out.
You mean like Hassan is the socialist? That kind of socialist?
Oh my god.
Stardust. Give me your verdict. You're muted.
Thank you for having me on, and thank you for allowing me to derail as much as I did. I do think that in general, when it comes to this topic, I can't say for sure whether Wick. I just don't know. I don't think Wick is somebody who is an incel. Whether he engages in incel rhetoric, I guess I haven't. But I will say I do think like this is a multi-pronged issue, and I think we need to think about things beyond ourselves, men and women, right? I've always kind of despised this whole like don't approach me anywhere at all for anything, right? When we're talking about like how women approach like men approaching them, and I think that that's a flaw. And I think also like men talking about like, oh, why is it so hard to find a woman who's interested in me? Like there are multiple reasons for this, right? And so I think at the end of the day, like I think a lot of men, their self-esteems have been really negatively impacted by the modern dating market, and I understand why. And I think we just need to like advocate for a lot of men to
women are mean,
appreciate themselves more, and same with women, appreciate yourself more, and have higher standards for yourself and for the people that you date. Okay. There was one last thing I was going to say. I know I come off as kind of radical. I just have that like female perspective, and I do think that there are a lot of issues that women face that aren't really at the forefront of a lot of this discourse. Like we talk about like male loneliness, but we don't ever talk about like how many women like give up like their social lives once they enter relationships, and then also completely give up everything, any extracurricular once they're married and have kids, right? So like I do think that there's like a huge blind spot in that sense. But yeah, that's just my main thing is like I think just everybody could be a little bit more empathetic and a little bit more nice to themselves. So
true. Be nice to yourself and be nice to other people. Because women are mean, and so are men, and you just gotta like, find nice ones. Soypill, final verdict.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're hiding your power level, this reassured me a lot. I'd say you're no longer incel adjacent. You're dipping your toe into the incel lake, and I'm pulling you back. I'm a lifeguard. I'm tweeting my whistle. I'm like, careful there, buddy. You're dipping your toe in the gross, mucky water. And I never thought you were an incel, so that's good. But yeah, now I think you're a lot less close than I thought you were. Sometimes you just worry me a little bit. I'm your friend and I care about you, and I don't want you to be an incel. I want you to have lots of delicious sex or making love, because screwing, no one does that. No one screws. We make love. Chad's
Keep it
makes
under
love.
12.
Under
12.
No, keep it over 18. Definitely. So
True.
yeah, Wick, good luck on Andrew Wilson. Good luck talking about the definition of a word for 2 hours. I would blow my brains out, and I hope you had fun, because I did. I'm more reassured of your already good personhood.
Well, thank you. And with that, we're gonna open up the panel. You guys, again, if you guys need to go, I get it, but got some people who want to say some things. I'm gonna bring them on. I'm gonna go get a drink, and I'll be right back. And that's what we'll do.
Okay. Actually, just real quick, Stardust, are you coming back to the panel space permanently now?
Maybe. I haven't decided. I still want to work on video essays mostly. But
Yeah, me too. But yeah,
video essays take forever.
Oh God, I'm actually here.
they
Yeah.
do.
Good Lord, everyone at once?
Why not?
I'm like, Wick, you fucking.
All right.
I'll be back.
But yeah,
Yeah, I feel the same way.
Can
I?
Have mercy.
If I may,
Christ.
real fast.
Them.
If
They're
I may,
fun.
real fast. Dev, short fat otaku, are you there?
I'm right here. Yeah.
Listen, my friend,
I cannot
it's
hear myself
interesting.
think
I
over all
don't
of you guys.
I don't know
Ray, shut up.
to what extent you and I will really interact in this conversation, but I had a friend of mine that loves you.
Hey,
She's a
Dev.
great fan of yours. She brings you up a lot. And it's actually
who is it?
it's fascinating for me. Her name's, I'm gonna call her Caddy. I'm not gonna tell you her real name.
Well, is
yeah,
she like an online person or like anyone that I know?
Yeah, she's like online. She's like online. Yeah, she's been in your Discord. I think she was the one that asked you to play Kingdom Hearts on stream with your friend. I think.
No, I know exactly who you're talking. I know exactly.
Yeah.
Is her name Rose? Is it Rose?
Got to tell you, right? So it's interesting to finally be in a panel with you. But I don't think we'll argue or discuss too much. But I just wanted to say hi to you specifically.
I didn't know that you knew her. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Did you take
But
2 minutes to say
yeah,
hi to someone on the panel?
I had to. I've known of him for very many years. I had
No,
to.
they
that's
definitely
right.
say
Honestly,
hi. Like,
panel.
that's cool,
You
but that was a
know,
really long way to
it
do
was
a
it.
long.
listen,
I think we all thought that was
I had
going to
to
lead
do
to
it.
something.
No, it's
But-
always
but
very
listen,
strange when
no,
people know
no,
who I
it's-
am, man. It's always very strange. I don't think I'm that big or anything.
Yeah.
I feel like you're about to
understand.
apply for a job at his company. That's what I felt like.
Not even. No, me and Soy though, fam. What is Charlie? What are you guys doing? What are you
What are we
guys
doing?
doing to
Your
me?
What are we
Twitter's
doing,
a little
buddy?
crazy,
Come
man.
on.
It's a little crazy,
first of all,
dude.
see, here's the
Thinks that
thing,
your
Charlie.
name
This
spreads around,
isn't
Dev.
fair. This isn't fair because I have been on record on Twitter
Hello?
defending the things you've said. By the way, I've come to bat for
When?
you on Twitter. I've argued for you on Twitter. So that's not even. That's kind of cold.
Well, I
to say I'm
appreciate it.
over
I
here
don't.
making people depressed.
Yeah, but
that's
then
not
Soy
right.
said nothing wrong with the fact that you may
But
not be
Soy-
incel, but you agree with every point they
But
have
it's like-
in these
So
conversations.
I
every
don't
time you're
agree.
on.
It's
So
just a
I
little bit-
actually don't. I don't think you listen to me if you think I agree with everything they say. Actually, what I say is pretty straight. They're right about the current state of affairs. I'm not a biological determinism. I don't think being
They're
ugly
right about
means that it's
everything, but I
game
don't
set match for
agree
you.
with them.
They're right about the current state of affairs. It's a very specific statement. If we are to say or suggest that being attractive is the most important thing that people measure before they even engage in a relationship, that would be correct. In fact, the first piece of advice any of you guys give is to do what? Improve how you look. Where's the counter argument to the incels then?
Well, no
No,
one's
I
arguing
got
against that
one.
thing, though.
No, hold on. I actually am. I think Charlie kind of brought this up, but I think if anything, women consistently show evidence that they are always the ones who are willing to concede to a partner who is less attractive than them.
So
The reason we
here's the
say,
question.
hold on.
Satisfactory.
You've been talking for
Because
5 minutes and
the
3 of them was
problem-
saying hi to
the
somebody.
problem
Give
is-
me more than 30
that was-
seconds to respond.
We barely even
Xerxes.
got into anything. though.
Xerxes, you don't know my point
Go
yet, and you're going to argue it, and it's
Go
going to
ahead.
waste time.
Go
So
ahead.
I am going to
what I would
cycle you
say
guys
is
through when I'm bored.
the
with you.
reason we give like some of those easy things to do at the beginning as the prescriptions is because just that. They're easy to do and you don't need to interact with a woman yet to do them, because like Soy said, you shouldn't just go in cold with random women in random parts of your life as a way to learn. You should do what other people do, and whatever they're trying to practice has some risk for other people. You practice in theory before you operate in practice, right?
That's goofiness. See,
that's not goofiness
The reason
at
why
all.
I'll tell you why this is goofiness. Let me tell you why this is goofiness, right? Women are just people. That's all they are. They're just humans. Being able to talk to people and have normal, regular conversations is a skill that you develop over a period of time. You should talk to women. You should talk to women at the grocery store. Just if they wear a shirt you like, you should say, "Hey, I like that shirt. That's a nice shirt. What band is that? XYZ," and move on. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a skill that you should develop over a period
depends.
of time.
If you don't
right?
yet know how
the
to
idea
determine
that
whether
you
someone
don't do
wants to
it-
talk to you, there can be
But
something
how
wrong with
could
that.
you? How could you learn that without actually being engrossed? You see,
Because like you said,
that-
women
just in
are
the
just
public
people,
school
so you
system,
can
fam.
talk to
What do
other
you-
people, including men, to
Okay.
gain social
I thought we
skills
needed
that
more
will
women on
work
the
with
panel.
women.
Okay, so I brought
Okay,
ice beams
so
in.
so
More
but this
married
doesn't
women.
change-
More married
Yeah.
brown
But this doesn't
women.
change anything,
There you
though.
go.
So,
Ice
like,
beams.
one,
Hi.
You're just
if
saying
you
that,
just
but
said
I
Hi,
think
Ice
that it
beams.
does.
well, think about it. The first piece of advice you still come back down to, well, we tell them that they should improve how they look because it's an easy thing to do. Well, actually, exercising is not just an easy thing to do. It takes time. It takes dedication. It takes a lot of effort to put into it in order to trigger this muscle growth that's going on. That's number one. Number two, if you don't have
Yeah, it's
facial
still
hair,
very
you can't
easy,
clean it
but-
up in any stylish way, right? So it's like you say that is easy. But here's the problem. Even if we improve the way that you look, there's still the height problem that we talked about earlier. I wasn't on the panel while I was listening. We talked about the height issue. We talked about the preferences that some
The
of these
height
young
issue
males
just
have to
doesn't
deal
bear
with
out. Most
that
women just
cannot
prefer
be
someone taller than them.
overcame, right?
Most women just
So that's
prefer
what-
someone
so-
taller
so-
than them, and
so-
men all
so
on
this is the
average are
problem.
taller than women on average.
So and you're correct, but here's the problem.
Yeah.
The problem is that very many people accept that because a woman has done something, that means she's satisfied. It doesn't mean that at all. There's many women, they've gone on record. I've just seen just recently in many different TikTok videos going on record saying that I knew I shouldn't have married this man. I knew I didn't want to be with him. Was married for him for 2 years, got a divorce later. There's many a tale of this. They're telling this to young men right
Jeb,
now.
have you considered
right?
that Zerth watches
So
a lot of
the
Instagram reels
idea-
and TikToks?
No, but this is
So
my
the
problem.
idea-
Is
it's not just
everything
that,
you
right?
just hold on? Everything you just
So
brought
go
up
ahead.
demonstrates that women are more likely to settle than men, even though you claim the opposite. So women generally
So
prefer
that-
men
so
who
how
stop,
would that
stop,
bring
stop,
to a
stop,
good relationship?
stop. Let me finish. So women generally prefer someone 2 to 3 inches taller than them. Men on average are 6 inches taller than women. Women generally will date someone who is less attractive than them. Men almost exclusively will not. They seek out partners based primarily on their physical attractiveness. And like you said, women are more likely to take a chance on a relationship with the idea that a man might grow to meet their needs
That's not
and
what I
might
said.
start
That's not what I
being
said.
empathetic.
I said they
You
settle.
said, I know I should. That's, yes, they settle.
Okay,
but they
so
don't
that's not taking a
settle
chance
just
then.
to.
That is
taking a
picking
chance.
someone
Okay,
that you
yeah,
don't
hold
want
on,
to be
hold
with.
on, just real quick. Jebtan, Xerxes,
Yeah.
there's 12 people here. We're gonna need to get some other voices in. Okay.
No, I mean, look, I
know.
came here. Look,
I
my
know,
old friend
Xerxes,
Soy
you're
What are you doing?
you got called
What are you
out.
doing,
I
man?
get it.
What you
But
doing?
I
huh?
want to hear
I
from.
actually watched your videos before this panel just to remember whether or not you were an incel, or at least incel agreeing, and it was pretty bad.
They won't claim me. Fam.
I wanna-
See,
I wanna-
that's what's goofy.
I wanna
about
hear
it.
just
from
because they're
non-fun.
more
I can't-
radical than you. does
I want to
not
hear
mean
from
that you're
non-fun.
not
It's not-
Non-fun.
developed in them.
You have
Sure.
a lot of stake here in this discussion. Okay, I understand. I see you on Twitter putting yourself out there. I'm with you, brother. Okay, I love you, brother. I try to help where I can.
Wait, are
Okay.
you calling him an incel?
No, he's trying
is
his
implying
best.
that.
Okay, he's doing
Well-
what he needs to do. Okay, I don't know if he gets laid or not, but I see
Right.
him.
That's kind of what I came to comment on. I'm curious how Soyfield feels about this too. I feel like the rhetoric that Soyfield might consider incel adjacent, both, I guess he's somewhat backed off from it on Wick, but also had a classmate named Adam who was definitely incel adjacent. That type of rhetoric has probably been the stuff that has inspired me the most to improve myself. Wick telling me to talk to girls is a non-zero reason why I got my driver's license finally.
Well, I don't think Wick
It's
telling you
cool,
to talk
right?
to girls is
Well, that's
incel
kinda cool.
adjacent, to be fair, but that's awesome.
Yeah.
Actually, that makes me very happy.
I'm telling you, right? Like Wick,
Damn.
I was telling Wick in the DMs, he's not incel adjacent. Like, I don't even know why we had this
Jump in,
panel. He's
Star.
not.
Would you
Shout
say
out
you
to
are?
Wait, yeah,
He's
can
so
I?
far
Yeah, can I?
removed.
Consider
It's
yourself
goofy.
incel adjacent?
Hold on, Ice
Me?
Beans.
Well, I
Ice
just want to be
Beans.
clear
I-
Oh
because
yeah, I
I-
would be. Yes.
okay, cool. So if
Okay.
you're considering Rick is nowhere close to you. So.
Yeah.
Okay, Ice Beans.
I would be adjacent by definition. Yes.
Ice Beans. You had something to say.
I came to say I don't know where people. I've missed, and I tried to find out what exactly it is that made people think Wick is incel adjacent. Wick just strikes me as the kind of guy that like has a girlfriend and has a wife, or has like a wife and is hiding her away from everyone because
I
he
thought he
seems
was
very.
In a
He
closet.
seems very grounded. You know what I mean? That's just like the energy I get. So I'm interested to know where the incel energy has like even came from in the first
he
place.
reposted an
Nowhere.
incel meme on Twitter, and he was saying things
Okay.
that were like complaining about men in ways that I
Right.
thought were like incel adjacent, where it's like, okay, clearly you're pointing out a problem that might be true, but you're not really offering solutions, and you just seem to be bitter and lamenting in the way that I see in incel forums
Yeah.
that I used to browse for fun. But
Yeah,
like
but
he's
like you know
clarified-
the
like he's
but
clarified,
you know like
oh,
the
if
you know
don't wanna
the
relitigate
old
this,
stereotypical
there's
yeah you know
nowhere close to it.
the stereotypical like wife memes, you know, like the ball and chain memes, you know, like I feel like
Yeah, but he's
that's
not
the
doing
energy
that.
I
That's
get from
different. That's boomer
Yeah, that's-
complaining about
From
women.
Wick,
That's
like a
just awesome.
chauvinist. Which
Okay.
yeah, that's like
Yeah,
chauvinist.
Do you guys think I
didn't-
got like?
again, I didn't
Do you
say
guys
this.
think I got like
What do
women
you think?
like in my basement just locked up? What?
No,
I
no,
don't know.
I'm saying
There's one under
I'm
his
saying like a
desk right
stable
now.
person. Like you seem like a stable
Well, I do
person. You know what I
appreciate
mean?
that. I try to be stable. Yeah. Well, honestly, I would think that might be evidence that I don't talk to a lot of women, right? Because I'm still stable and they haven't driven me insane yet, right? Get it?
I could
Yeah,
push
I
you
mean
over there.
that's
But that's
the
chauvinism,
other, well,
right?
that's the other. Well, hold on. That's the weirdly enough, that's the other reason why I think like you know you're not someone like that because for me, I've been married, but also like I am married, but also for the longest time I just dated one person. So I don't even like think about dating. You know what I mean? Or not in that sense anyway. So and I feel like that's the kind of energy you bring, Wick.
I can't tell
you know,
if this is
you're
good or
You're
not.
lamenting your. You're
It's
not
good.
No, you're
It's
not
good.
No, it's good. It's good. It's good. That's what I'm trying to
Yeah,
say.
yeah. And you know what? This
You
actually makes a
either
lot of
got a girl
sense
or you
because
gave up.
this makes a lot of sense because that kind of reminds me of me because I will definitely make jokes that if I were single might come off as incel-ish because I've been in a relationship for 9 years and it's a very solid relationship. I'm just like, I'm just fucking around. Who cares? This is just for fun.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
do we actually have an operational definition? Because if anything disparaging towards women is considered incel, well, game set match, I guess. So how
Well,
do
the
we
meme
actually
is-
focus in what is
the meme is-
incelish?
The meme is
Specific- so-
incelly because it's pointing out an involuntary part of somebody's physical being and blaming that for why they can't get
But
women.
can we
That
just
is
acknowledge-
definitionally
hold on, stop.
involuntary
Wait,
Hold on,
Jeb,
just-
let me clarify
Slip,
too.
clarify.
It's using an incel meme, Saint Black
Yeah,
Ops
true.
Cell 2, which is like exclusively on incel forums. It's not like
Yeah.
because Star pointed out there is the exact same meme of the fat pimply guy in the office being like, "Hello, ma'am," and she's like, "Hello, police," and then the hot guy.
Mhm.
If he had posted that, I wouldn't even thought about it. It's because I saw Saint Black Ops Cell 2.
See, I
Okay,
didn't even know
I gotta
that's
do
like
two things.
an
It could be a
incel
little
meme.
bit of
Okay, I gotta
observation.
mod zero
I'm gonna
fucks.
peace out.
Okay, see you later.
Have fun,
Ice Beans.
everybody.
I appreciate
Good seeing
the
ya.
I appreciate the normie energy advocacy. But I will say this. Can I just say this before I let you go, Stardust, and I'll let you go?
Okay.
That meme has a lot of truth to it. If you are less attractive, you have more problems than, at least in dating, than if you were more attractive. I think that's just a true statement.
It is
That's just true.
very
men,
true.
right?
Yeah.
It's true for men and for women. And can I just say, like, I do think it's interesting, an interesting double standard that, like, when I was giving my closing statement, the amount of people I saw saying, like, "Oh, I'll never take relationship advice from somebody who's single and childless in their 30s." Like, why are we listening then to men who are single and childless in their 30s? And
People
not
say the
and
same
not-
thing. No,
Well, they
no,
might
do the
have
same thing.
children.
The people do the same thing to me all the time. What do you? That's
Yeah.
that's ubiquitous. I feel.
Yeah.
I was just in a YouTube argument with someone just the other day where they just kept on personally attacking me, saying this and that. So
Yeah,
I just gave the ghost. I said, fine, then I'm everything you say I am, but address my argument. You know.
If you want
I mean,
to,
I think it's
personally
important.
attack people, like that's fine, but like these people, like you're taking this side that like the things that I'm saying are like so ridiculous that and the points that I'm bringing, these issues that women face are so ridiculous. But then if you don't want to take the advice of somebody who is currently like choosing to not engage in that, then and giving the reason why they don't want to engage in that, like then yeah, like your loss, I guess, but like
Well-
you wouldn't write off anybody, right?
I don't know.
Fatty, thank you for the raid on YouTube. Really appreciate you. Welcome, Fatty viewers. We're talking about
Hi.
incels. Okay, that's what we're talking about
Sure is,
today.
yeah, I'm sure his
I
audience
do want to
will
hear
have
real quick.
Stardust. What you were saying, I don't think that's gendered, because just yesterday I witnessed Sargon basically give Nick Fuentes a public
No,
dressing down, talking about this stuff.
In most cases, I don't think it's gendered in most cases. I'm just arguing with people who actually like. I'm just arguing with the people in the chat who actually disagree. With
Okay, yeah.
Well,
Fair enough.
Okay,
I think that's rude of them to do, but I think if people want to use your body's produced count as a indicator of future behavior, I think that's perfectly acceptable.
Good one.
Okay,
Well,
I
listen,
do.
I
I do
think-
have a question. I do have a question for non-fun. Okay, because look, what kind
'Cause
of
he's my biggest
rhetoric?
fan on the panel.
What kind of like, as someone who's younger, you're younger in this space, you're actively looking. What kind of things do you need rhetoric-wise? What kind of like? Do you need people to just give you an attaboy thing? Like, what advice would you like? I'm just wondering what you want and need out of streamers in this space.
Yes. And then
So
who would
I
be
have-
more likely to get you laid, me or Wick? If you listen to both of us.
Listen to me.
Probably soy pill. I would guess soy pill. I would guess. So I don't know. Like
Maybe
I don't know what I
that's
need. So like I don't know what
he
the
might be too
optimal
handsome to take advice from.
like the optimal like
Wait, what is-
advice
what-
to
you're not
hype me up
helping,
or whatever is.
Well, listen, Soy's not just better with women; he's also prettier. So I mean,
Exactly.
Rick's got to pedal harder. His dating.
Non-fun.
That's actually
You
pretty
should, you
interesting.
should listen to me. Listen to
I
me.
used to be fat and
Listen to
ugly,
me.
okay? And I know about
Non-fun.
women.
Do you have
I do wanna
no?
listen
I
to
was
women.
I was a man with a pussy at one point. I was a 5'6" man with a pussy, and that's a hard knock life. I'll tell you what. So listen, listen.
Doesn't
Non-fun.
get much smaller than that.
Do you
for
like?
Six
Do you like Renaissance Fair, live action role
I
play,
beg to
Dungeons
differ.
and Dragons, anime convention things? Do you like those things?
Nope.
Oh,
Yeah,
What do you like?
no, he'd need to go to like a
Unplugged,
Biden
nah.
rally or something. He'd need to go to
What
like
do you
the Women's
like?
March. The Women's March.
I like,
and shrimp welfare and
Yeah, the shrimp. Well, actually, you know what? They do hold effective altruism conferences. Okay, I bet the women at effective altruism conferences, I bet they, maybe they'll get along with me.
Wait, not fun. Unironically,
Alright.
there is a cult, and I don't like calling it a cult, but they call themselves a cult of people. And every single person that I've mentioned this to, because I'm friends with a bunch of them, know about the Shrimp Welfare Project. It's men, it's women, it's some of the smartest people I know. I'll introduce you to their Discord. I bet you could find a lot of people that you'd like in there.
ladies.
I bet
Okay,
I don't
I'll
know,
say
is it
this right
okay
now.
for
If
me to
you get
approach
laid
women
because of the
in the-
Shrimp Welfare Project, I will donate to the Shrimp Welfare
that's
Project.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Hell yeah. Hey, listen.
Well, hold on.
He needs a woman
If I may
to help
ask,
him. It has to be a woman
Yeah,
to help him.
non-fun, do you actually like want a relationship or do you want to have sex indiscriminately? Because those are two different things.
I think I mean, not that like I'm a man. I'm not going to be opposed to sex indiscriminately.
I'm not choosy.
But, like,
No, but I think you should.
Right,
Because I'll tell you what, the way you're gonna approach trying to be with a woman in a relationship is absolutely going to be different than how you would approach a woman you're trying to date indiscriminately. Like those are two categories of people
Sure.
that are going to operate differently, right? So it's like, what do you actually want?
So like I think I would. So to make it clear, like I understand there's going to be a difference in how you approach those situations, and like I think I would prefer a relationship. I'm just saying, like, if the opportunity
when you
presented
post
itself
the
for indiscriminate
drooling
sex, I probably
emoji
wouldn't.
meme, when you post the drooling
Mhm.
emoji meme on every e-girl's Twitter photos, is that you looking for a relationship or sex?
Looking for a wife.
No,
in those
that's not me.
cases.
Exact. That's true. Actually,
That's not
true.
you. Do you
That's
have a
not
social
me.
media handler?
Is it more
That's
important
not
for
me
you to?
seriously
Okay.
attempting?
But that's what
anything.
you're putting
It's
out
shit
there,
If
right?
posting.
someone actually wants like a relationship or just sex, you have to hang out with more women. I would say it'd make more sense to be in groups of women.
Non-fun
more
hangs out with a
cool.
lot of
Introduce
women. He
you to
posts
more
it.
women. Because then women
They
don't
might
want
just
to be
think he's
comfortable
gay.
around you. They're gonna be like, oh,
Well,
this guy's
So they
cool.
might just
There
think
are a
he's
lot of
gay.
women who
It
think I'm
depends.
gay.
I think it depends.
Yeah, they'll
I
just
think
think
it
he's gay
depends.
after that point. If it's
Literally a
too easy.
positive.
Okay.
No. That's a positive in many spaces. In cities, if you're a straight guy who seems a little gay, like you'll go places.
That's actually true.
Oh, the
In
places
fact,
you go.
sometimes I pretend to be
It's
gay.
crazy.
Is that the places
but
you
those
want to
places
go?
aren't
Is
the
that where you're gonna
bedroom.
find yourself?
No,
Yeah,
the places
exactly.
are the
That's-
yes, they are. They
Are
are
those
the
are those
They
the
are
adventures you want
not.
to go on? I don't know.
Yes, it's if you
Hey.
live in a city and women think you're a little gay, yeah, you're going to get laid.
Yeah.
I'm not
How
kidding.
is
In
that
cities,
work?
yes,
No.
it's gonna
You
work.
gotta square the circle on that one. How does
No,
that
and,
work?
like,
They
if
think
Oh,
you're
if they,
gay,
if they
so
think
they
you're gay, they're gonna try to have sex with you.
No, no, no,
It
no.
makes, that
Totally.
makes
If
sense.
they, no,
No,
here's
if you
Yeah,
seem
yeah,
like
yeah.
a little,
Yeah.
if you seem a
Eventually,
little
okay,
gay,
that's
Oh,
the.
I
if you
want to.
seem
I
like
want to
a
hear
little
from her,
gay,
Charlie. I'm curious.
That is the most bonkers stuff I have ever heard. I gotta
No,
be real with you.
this is very
okay,
true.
listen to me. I'm
unfortunately.
sorry.
Actually,
Listen to me.
fortunately, depending
I've
on
lived
where-
in
Star
where
has
you
San
very
Fran-
strong views on bisexual men. Okay,
I
so
have
don't listen
listened
to
to well,
No, I don't. I am totally fine with bisexual men.
No, but
I
you wouldn't. You said you wouldn't date one. You said you wouldn't go near a bisexual man. I thought.
That's
you
not a
said.
strong
I-
opinion.
Oh,
That's-
okay.
You wouldn't
I
date a
thought I had-
short man either, would you? Let's see.
I thought
Let's
I
see.
had
Would
heard
you
it.
date a
no,
short man,
no
Stardust?
short man.
Apparently, I was wrong.
There you go.
plenty of bisexual men. I don't know what's going on there. Where you're getting those?
Yep.
Those
I
all right.
thought
Well,
I had heard.
anyway,
I wanna
anyway,
hear- I wanna
my
hear
point
Tyler's
is-
thing.
My point is, I've lived in Los Angeles, I've lived in San Francisco, Sacramento, I've
That
lived in
kind of-
Glasgow, I've lived in Portland. All right, those
killing
are
me
those
with
are
bad
those are
news.
cities.
What?
Wait. Just let me say something. And I need to tell you that the kind of men who get laid in cities, in blue cities, are men who are a little bit fruity. Men who come off as a little bit fruity. That is why the Harry Styles of the world, the Timothy Chalamets, all the heartthrobs
Yeah.
are men who are just a little bit effeminate. You know, still fairly masculine, but a little bit effeminate, but like in touch with their feminine side.
That's a little
They
different
talk
than
a
what
little
you
soft.
originally
But
said.
they're also
Well, yeah,
handsome.
because
Let me
obviously
clarify.
there's a
See,
little
now
bit
I
of
have to be
feminine-
incel adjacent.
They come
They're
off as a
handsome
little
men.
bit gay, and that's okay.
There's a little bit
Yeah,
of
like-
tongue
just
cheekness, but there's a
Well, you
truth being
want-
hit at. There's a
It
truth being
works.
hit at. Hold on. There's a general truth being hit at, which is something that men generally don't get about women when they are approaching, especially, is for men, we don't have the same need that women have in a new situation with a new person. Safety and comfort are two boxes that have to be checked first before you can
You're
get to
bugging.
fun and flirty, before you
You're
can get to
bugging.
any of the other positive energy.
Absolutely.
And she's
Absolutely.
being tongue-in-cheek about like seeming gay, but what she means is if you seem empathetic to a woman and you seem like someone who is around women and is safe to be around women, you check those boxes almost by default. You still have a ton of work to do to check the desired box that you want to in the end, but some of the work is done for you from the outset if you have anything that pre-checks the safety and comfort
Yeah,
boxes.
I want
Yeah,
to add
like
to this, Jeb. If you are someone
agree
who
with that,
seems
but-
like is
Yeah.
trying to
Agreed.
like embody this masculine stereotype, and you're stoic, and you like won't even like, oh, that's gay, I wouldn't do that. That does send off red flags. And if on the opposite side, you're like, oh yeah, like I can talk about like how I dress and things that people traditionally masculine people like, oh, that guy's gay, he gives a shit about his appearance. Oh, that guy's gay, he talks about his feelings. If you do those things that are considered gay by these very, traditionally masculine conservative people, women are more warm to you because like, oh, that person is actually a little more in touch
He's
with the emotional
confident.
side or
He's
something.
Yeah.
There's a
confident.
caveat.
Like I live in a very
There's an
conservative
extremely important
city.
caveat.
I live in a very conservative. I just want to add to this
Go
because
Rad.
I live in a very conservative city, and there was a point in my 20s where one of my roommates, one of my best friends, came out. We were living together already at that point as roommates. He worked as a bouncer in a gay bar. Let me know that they had free pools on Monday nights for members, and memberships only cost $5 for life. So I was playing pool at the gay bar every Monday night, and you would be surprised to see how many women there are hanging out at the gay bar. And as a straight, fairly masculine man in a gay bar, I got hit on a lot once they were very receptive and became more interested in me once they found out that I was straight, but that I was willing to hang out and be a part of the gay community as a fully functioning heterosexual man.
I just
Yeah,
think
but
that's
So I do.
take on this. I think like I was confused by the a little bit gay thing because maybe I just don't have like the gaydar or whatever. But I don't know, like Jeb, why the fuck are you mixing me up with Bad Bunny? Do we look alike? What's going on here?
Wait, does Bad? Oh, you're talking about female Bad Bunny. I thought you were saying the actual bisexual man Bad Bunny. I was like, wait, no.
You look like a Latino rapper. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I thought we had this conversation before, like way back when I
No.
like because most people don't know the Jeb lore. I actually came kind of into this space through Stars community, but no,
Did you really?
I misremembered. It was you and Hippy Dippy, yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Star number
I mean,
one.
I did too, Stars. So that's kind of how it is.
Yeah.
Stardust
Look,
is a
listen.
vector.
I don't know if it's a good idea to tell a young man that he should kind of come off a little bit fruity. We have to
Well,
ask.
well,
like,
that
what
already- so that already
traits
happened.
were
I
actually
wanna-
really
so I
be
don't wanna be-
afraid
Go
of
ahead,
doing
go
it.
ahead,
You shouldn't
Nonfon.
be
Just be
afraid
a
of
gay
doing
right.
it.
Go ahead,
So
Nonfon. Nonfon, go ahead.
I agree mostly with what like Charlie and Jeb said, and like I think that's why like Soy Pale said I hang out with a lot of women because I have a lot of friendships with women. But part of the reason rhetoric that Soy Pale might consider like incel adjacent, has been the stuff that's made maybe want to improve is because like at bottom like I do fundamentally feel like if you want to have a relationship with a woman, you have to have above 0 of like something to offer her, and typically. Like those are going to be like
So
more
Nonfon, can I ask?
Can I-
Hold on, real quick.
Wait,
Nonfon, hold on,
wait,
real quick,
hold on,
real
hold
quick.
on,
Which would be the opposite of
Nonfon,
being
Nonfon.
Okay.
I want to ask
address
Nonfon
me.
a question.
Can I respond to him? He addressed me though.
Okay, but I got a question for him after you. Go ahead.
Right. So Nonfon, I don't think saying you need to have something to offer a woman is incel adjacent. This is true in any relationship. Women are looking for something, men are looking for something, and if you offer them nothing, you're not going to be able to date. If you're not attractive, if you're not providing stability, and this goes both genders, they're not going to want to date you. It's like, oh, you're just a guy who I can be friends with. Okay, whatever. Like that's what friends are for. If you want a relationship, you do need to have some sort of mutually exchanging thing of a relationship. If that's what people are looking for, and this is not incel adjacent, and I would not deride you.
Well, I don't think it's intrinsically incel adjacent. But I've only I've heard that from incel adjacent people, and that's been the
incel version of that. Nonfon is women only seek value in men. They don't care about what you are attractive wise. What they want necessarily is your status, your money. Like these things can replace the attractiveness, and that's all they want because they are materialistic.
Right. It comes down to the breadth of your
too.
definition of something to offer. Like there's a lot broader of a definition of something to offer. Like you, Nonfon, I identify as someone who has very particular things to offer a woman, but an incel would disagree because they don't see you being sort of funny and intelligent.
I just want to hold on. I want to ask Nonfon a question. Nonfon, you say you have a lot of women friends that you hang around with. You have a lot of them that spend time with you. They think you're safe. We've talked before, and I think in public, and I don't think this is private to share, that you don't have a girlfriend and you haven't had a girlfriend. Is that accurate still?
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you think is the barrier that is keeping you from going from I'm hanging around with a lot of women, I have a lot of women friends, to I'm actually dating one? What seems to be the barrier stopping you?
Oh, don't say that, Zerzy.
I don't.
But that's the truth.
So that's
Listen, I actually think that Nonfon's adorable.
Okay, well let's hear from Nonfon what he thinks.
Spit game, Charlie. Let's just play the game.
No, because
Can
he's young.
Game?
He's really young.
Okay.
But, so you just so he's
very
really adorable.
Baby aged. Yeah, he's adorable.
But you're not going to let him spit game. So what good is it?
He's an 11-year age gap. Why are you making this a dichotomy, dude?
There's a huge age gap. That's he's younger than my baby brother.
Look,
and that's why.
Xerxes, it's because she's not Destiny. She's not going to slide into his DMs when he's 18.
I think he's just one haircut away from a really young Ryan Reynolds kind of thing.
Yeah, precisely. Yes, one good haircut away from a young Ryan Gosling.
But the problem is
no. I hold on. Stop, Cersei. Stop, because Nonfon hasn't answered my question. I'd like to give him an opportunity to do so. What do you feel, Nonfon, is holding you back from being someone who hangs out with a lot of women to someone who's actually having a relationship with a woman?
So I don't exactly know. I think that's part of the issue. But I guess I would say I don't approach many women with the intent of starting a relationship. At least a romantic one.
What's
that's
stopping you
changed
from doing
a little bit. I don't like to. I'm nervous. I don't like talking to people in general, let alone women. Oh my god.
I understand.
Yeah, so
unbelievable.
And this is not to shit on you, Nonfon, but if I had to guess, because I know people that look like you that did perfectly fine in college, it is a lot more to do with the rhetoric and how you feel about approaching these people than it does with Xerxes' implication that, oh, well, you're just not attractive, and that's why they don't
He's
want
not
you.
him.
First of all,
no. Let's actually have the conversation.
First of all, Nonfon is a cutie, and I'm not just saying that to be nice.
If he was what these women wanted, here's the thing. They would go to him.
Do not
they would
want
approach him. They would flirt with him.
And nervous about it. Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
But listen, it would be irrelevant.
How tall are you now?
I am 5'6".
5'6".
So you're a little lanky too.
I see that face.
He's my
goddamn.
short
Oh,
king.
no.
All right?
I'm not
Calm
gonna
down.
say-
He's
I'm
my
not
short
gonna say-
king.
Wait,
See every vagina on the
Can I say
panel
this?
dry up.
It's not
Not fucking
Right
over.
now. Oh,
It's
no.
not fucking over.
Non-fun. I need
No.
to say something about Mooncake. Mooncake, I'm going to throw you under the bus here. At one time I asked you, what's a good gift for someone? And you were like, a trip to the fucking like Greek islands or something, because you had a fucking sugar daddy, bank manager,
Yeah.
millionaire boyfriend.
I know
Oh my
he's
Do
telling
not
the
use
truth.
Mooncake.
That's a
Do
little
not use
disconnected, Mooncake.
as your-
That's
as your
True,
standard.
Mooncake. That's a little disconnected. To be
Mooncake will
fair, I
blackmail
got.
any
I'm with
man,
Soy on
no
that
matter
one.
how
That's a little
She's also like
disconnected.
she's also
desirable
like
they were.
5'10". She's also like 5'10".
Yeah,
and most
thank you, I'm
women
5'10".
Yeah.
value people who
Well,
are
if
just a
you're
little bit
5'10",
taller
I
than
think-
them. So.
Okay, yeah, typically a lot of women do
Yeah.
want to date taller
Thank
than
you.
them.
It's gonna be like that and
A
up.
lot of
Yeah.
short. I've dated men my height multiple times. I dated. Oh my god! I had a friend with benefits in college who was a 5'3" Filipino man.
But you didn't stay with
It's
him. See,
Where
is he
here's
now?
what's important. It's
Oh,
not.
I
It's not
stay with
enough
him.
to
I
just
didn't
be
stay with him
able to
because there was a
get
lot
there.
of
We got.
drama. We were friends.
And
We weren't
maybe
dating, we
maybe
were
that's
just
the case.
fucking. I don't know.
But you have to understand the greater point, right? It's like a lot of people will say, "Well, someone of such regard has had such relationship." Okay, but you're not with that person now. It was short term. It was friends with benefits. It was situationship. The question
You
is,
cannot
how
use
do
Charlie
we
as an
get
example,
into
and
good
I'm not gonna
relationships, right?
divulge any of Charlie's
Yeah.
private
Can I-
information, but I will say this. Charlie is the epitome of "you're just wrong," and I can't prove it, but you're just wrong. I trust me.
No, she has a
Yeah,
particular
Soy
life
Pill- Soy
experience.
Pill
Let's
has
just be
seen
real.
it.
Like,
Soy Pill has seen a lot of the people that I've been with, and he was like, "What the fuck, bitch?" And I was
and,
like,
and I believe it. But Charlie, let's just be real for a
Hey.
moment. You're probably a little different than most ladies, right? You're a different cut. I'm just let's not kid
Okay,
ourselves
yeah,
on
that's
that
fair.
one, right?
That's
So
fair.
if that's
I
the
know.
case, right? Let's talk about like generally, like how are we going to
There's
have
weird bitches out
relationships
there.
with women? But
Yeah,
how many
like-
of them?
Yeah,
And how
and
many of them are
you know,
single?
you
Out
actually
there.
you actually want the weird girls. You absolutely want the weird. Here,
I've got something
non-fun.
on this
Here's
show.
Well, that
non-fun.
depends.
Here's what you do: get yourself a gamer girl who would be really happy if you bought her like an Undertale plush or something.
stop.
Okay,
Okay,
that's
can
what you
I-
need.
True. True.
Can I jump in? Like
He
mutual
still
interest
has-
is obviously like an obvious answer. You're obviously gonna have more
Non-fun-
success with people who are more
This is
like you and things.
this is a fucking problem with all of you. Namfon gave us his problem, and you all
I'm
just
trying to
ignored
speak
it.
to it. I'm literally trying to speak to it, and you interrupted me.
Okay,
There's
what?
probably
no,
multiple
go
problems,
ahead.
to be
when
fair.
you say
but
when you say your problem is that you're not approaching enough of them because you get nervous, I think that's partially true. But I think the truth of the problem is with a lot of people who have a lot of female friends but can't translate that into like relationships is the toughest balance to strike, especially when you're younger and you don't have like a confident presence yet because you haven't totally found your you quite yet, is the striking the balance between making women feel safe and comfortable but also doing what Charlie mentioned earlier, which is making them feel like a lady, like creating
It's
some
trash.
contrast,
I
some
listen to him.
masculine contrast there while keeping them feeling safe, especially right because money helps you do that, right? Being really funny helps you do that. Being confident also is one of the best ways that helps you do that. And so it's not that you're not talking to them, because if you talk to them and still weren't confident, you still wouldn't necessarily be doing that. It's about focusing primarily on the internal and kind of establishing who non-fun is, and then bringing that assertively into conversations without
painful.
losing your ability to make women feel safe and comfortable around you.
Don't-
Because then you
don't-
can
don't
make
do
them
them
feel
like
like a
this.
lady by
Yeah,
having
Zerz-
that contrast.
Zeus, you can
No, that's
lament
not
one of
true.
these two
Guys,
people. One of
that's
these two people is
fantastic.
married,
Guys,
Zeus,
don't
and
do
it's
him
not
like
you.
this.
So
Don't
So-
do
so-
him
so-
like this, bro.
so
Don't do
just
him
real
like that,
quick.
man.
No. He's right. He's right because when I was
Just be
younger,
yourself.
I was
No,
exactly
that's
like
not what he
non-fun
said,
when I was
actually.
younger. That's not what he said. So I was exactly like non-fun when I was younger, like when I was like 16 or whatever. And what I ended up doing was I didn't focus on women at all. I self-improved for a long time. There were a few lonely years in there for sure, but eventually a woman approached me. And then as soon as I had the experience of having a woman approaching me, I was like, oh, I guess I can actually do this now. And then that didn't work out, but then I could approach women afterward because I had the confidence from having self-improved enough.
I don't.
Listen,
hold on.
it just-
I don't
takes
think.
time.
hold on,
People
hold on.
misunderstand.
I
have
don't
to
think you
address this.
need that. I think that's a mistake. I don't think you need
is a
to
mistake.
wait a few years, work on yourself. I think what you need to do is to see women as less of a prize, as less of something pedestal,
this is
and
true.
just realize they got the same insecurities that you do in a lot of cases,
Mhm.
right?
I'm telling you, they're people.
Yes,
See,
Yeah,
exactly.
and
The
I'm not
thing is-
saying wait
let me-
2
let me-
years.
let me
I'm
cook.
saying this is a process that can happen quickly, but I'm saying that necessary
No,
thing.
I'm going
what
to do
you're
this. We're
talking
going to
about
do
is
this.
part
Hold
of
on.
what
We're
I'm
going to do
saying.
this.
Listen,
Not
his
fine. I know I
confidence
said I'm
Let
going
me
to set this
clarify
up
what
before.
I said. Let me clarify
Wait,
what I
wait.
said because
Wait,
I
Deadeye,
didn't mean
don't
you
have to
should
go in
wait 2
5
years.
minutes.
No,
Me?
no.
Don't you have a panel? Don't you have an Andrew
At
Wilson panel in
11
5
p.m.
minutes?
Eastern.
It's
Yeah,
2 hours.
exactly,
4 hours.
yeah.
Okay.
That's why he said he has time
I was
to
worried
kill.
about you. I'm sorry.
No, thank you.
Let me just clarify what I said. I don't mean that you should wait several years like I did. Just that it did work for me. It doesn't have to be several years. That's all.
Non-fun.
Yeah,
This is
but
not
here's
a
the-
Dragon Ball Z
Sure.
training montage. You don't have to go away for like 8 episodes and
Exactly.
run around hell and get there.
Hyperbolic
This-
time
this
chamber,
is-
fam.
you
Can
get,
I-
here.
Mon-
This
not on-
is
I
how you
haven't
get your
made any
dick. Wait,
prescription-
wait.
Whoa there,
Just
Elon.
let me give you the solution. So women's
Soy pill canceled.
attraction to you is mostly in their head. It's not in
Thank
your
you.
eyes. It's not in your arms. You need big dick energy. You need to have them create the story you want in their head, and then you just have to not fuck it up with them.
So be
Don't
attractive.
do things that pulls
You're
that
not
away.
him to these
No,
women.
don't
Percy,
say
stop.
don't say the wrong thing. Don't do anything creepy. Don't rub her back in the grocery store. You know, you
That
just
I'm
have
good
You
at.
to
can be
avoid.
creepy if they
you,
want you. See, this
you
is you guys
have
understand.
to let me finish. You have to make them feel like you're pursuing them. You have to be overt.
We're
in
gonna make
that.
this a panel.
You-
We're gonna make
and
this
then
an actual panel. Non-thought.
you
I'm
just
gonna
have to-
get you on. We're gonna have a lot of women and a lot of men. Okay. We're gonna get you something. Okay. We're gonna teach you how to approach women. Okay. We're gonna make this a
You
panel
guys are
Okay,
giving him
next
this-
week.
this blue pill advice.
What are you doing
Quick
next
term,
week
You're
on
telling him.
big
Tuesday?
dick
You guys are
energy.
telling him.
You're welcome.
This is
No,
Captain
wait,
Planet.
I was
Tuesday
saying
next
this
week,
when I
6
got
p.m.
in the
Eastern, we'll get it.
relationship I'm in now. Like I know how to make it happen at his age as like a Twinkie looking kind of skinny dude. I've done it. I've been there. Like
Maybe okay, so you have n equals 1. The question is, can you replicate that?
your n equals
constantly?
fucking 0 for his.
Okay, so you
I mean,
attacked
that's-
me. I
I'm
asked you. a
married
question.
with a
Don't
kid.
talk about me. Talk about you. Can you replicate?
You just
it?
talked about
If you can
me.
replicate the business, you can replicate it. Make a business then, right?
Okay,
If you're
wait.
the one lucky
First,
guy and you
please,
got
I
the
know
one woman
everyone
who
giving
likes
really
you,
reasonable advice
game
makes
set
you
match.
spurg
That's
out,
great
but
for
can
you.
Please
The
stop
question
interrupting
is, hold
people,
on,
dude.
Soy, hold on, Soy.
I can't, dude.
Game
You're-
set
you're,
match.
trying to
if
black
you
pill
are-
non-con, dude. I don't
hold on,
like it.
hold
I
on,
don't
hold
want
on.
you to
No,
finish.
I'm trying to tell
I
him
don't
the
want you
truth.
to cook.
I want non-fun
I
to
want to
name
hope
this
pill,
young
and you're
man.
trying to
wants
black
truth.
pill. It's
I'm
not
trying
okay.
to tell him the truth. He needs to know this. This is going to help
Yeah,
him.
okay,
wait, actually, yes,
This is
here's the-
medicine.
What's
It's
the
bitter,
non-fun
Here-
plan?
but
here's the
it's
truth,
going to heal
non-fun.
you. Listen, it's bitter, but it's going to heal you. The whole thing about confidence. Confidence is what gets you to make the approach. But at the same time, you have to recognize the woman is still her own person with her own life, her whole story. She does have to feel attracted to you. That's fair. There's nothing wrong with that, actually. People are so upset with the black pill, but the truth is, yes, you have to, if you're going to cold approach, yes, you have to be attractive to her. If you're friends with her and you want to transition this into a long-term relationship, you are going to have some degree of attraction and sex appeal. You have to cross that barrier. Now, the question is, where do we find women that want that? Now, they actually gave you some pretty good advice insofar as you go to a liberal area, you act a little Twinkie, or you do whatever you do there, and perhaps you'll find success in that environment. The question is that the man you want to be? I don't know. I wouldn't want to be that man, but maybe you
Are you
want
going
to
to
be
give
a
him
Twinkie little
prescriptive
man.
advice, or are you just
So,
going to
so this
pill?
is so the prescriptive advice is very simple, right? The first thing you actually have to do, if you ask me, long before you try to be with a woman, is you need to focus on your character, right? Not for the women, but so that you are actually a good person to be in a relationship with. That's game set match.
This is sounding
It doesn't
very
matter
familiar.
if you are. It should sound familiar because you watch my videos.
Well,
Soy
it's
Bill, it
bar
sounds
for
familiar
bar.
because you watch my content.
You said
So
it
you
was
watch the things that
bullshit.
I've said, right?
No,
So
because
what I'm
Jed
saying
said
is-
this. This is what Jed said. You shit on him for it.
I mean,
So I'll tell you why. I'll tell you the difference. The difference is he's making it prescriptive to women. To get to women, it doesn't matter if you're a good person, good character. It matters if you're attracted to them. That's to get to women.
Okay.
But I'm not here to get you to women. I'm here to get you into a good relationship with someone that actually cares about
I didn't
you.
make
No,
my
you're-
advice
you're-
easy.
I wanna hear what
You
Soy
actually
Pill has
have
to
to
say.
do
Soy
it.
Pill had
right
some
now,
things.
though.
So-
Hold on. Soy Pill had some things to say. Soy Pill
Yes,
wanted to give some
okay.
advice. Go ahead.
If you ever listen to Xerxes, you are doing yourself a disfavor, and it does
No,
equal
you're doing
0
yourself
there.
a-
Hold
a
on,
service.
please don't interrupt. You've talked for
Life
a very
is
long
gonna
time,
be a
buddy.
lot better.
Please stop. Okay, so
You were
first
on
of all,
the
he's just
panel
repeat-
for 2
please
hours.
stop.
What are you talking
Please-
about?
Yeah, well, this isn't your panel, buddy. I organized
Let's
it. Okay?
let's
But
Soy
you were-
Pill.
you were-
Okay,
hold
you
on.
were talking
Let's
more
hold
than
on.
me.
Let Soy Pill finish his
Please.
point, Xerxes, please.
Please.
Soy Pill,
All
please.
right. Look,
Go ahead.
one thing that you're probably doing right now is putting yourself out there and talking to women, because my journey with women has been one of consistent iterations and failures. I was a fat, awkward, nervous person who viewed women as a prize. As Wick said, you should not. That is how a lot of men are raised in our society. It starts around 12, 13, you hit puberty, you're like, oh, I have all these emotions, I want to get with a woman. That is how every movie, every single story is. That's the prize to be won. Once you get that relationship, you're there. And what you realize is as you fail with these women, as you like go and talk to them, and it's like, oh, that doesn't work. And Xerxes, one thing you said that was right is women are people, right? Sometimes you're not what they're looking for, but also sometimes you're not what you want to be yet, and you're still figuring stuff out. So once you failed with a lot of people and you realize, oh, like when I talk to these people, like I have something on the line, like as soon as they reject me, I've lost something, and not, hey, I didn't enjoy that conversation with this person because we're not really a chemistry, we didn't have that chemistry. You start to realize through these failures and through trying over and over again what you are, what you're looking for. And eventually you come to the fact of, hey, I have friends and maybe there's an attraction there that develops and maybe I work on myself. But ultimately I've had to fail a bunch of times before I really realized what I'm looking for. Sometimes it works out. I think Jeb probably, he said he got married young, probably figured it out pretty fast. I am still figuring this out and I'm almost 30. And some people never figure it out. But if you don't go out and try, if you are constantly held back by this fear of rejection, fear of not being the right thing, that's never going to get you anywhere. You do have to go out and put yourself out there, and you're going to get rejected, but that's good because usually the people that don't want you are not necessarily people you want to be with.
Here's what you need
part
to
of
do.
Developing into who you are.
Non-font, this is the unironically best advice you'll ever get. And this you can do right now, tonight, okay? 100 women, DM them, compliment them on their looks, right? And say, hey, let's talk. You'll get one response.
Get shot down 100 times.
See, that does sound intelligent.
You have a 2% chance. You only have to ask Excel adjacent.
No, I'm not kidding.
Meeting
Right?
the allegations.
So what this does is it gets you used to approaching women coldly. It sets you up to be used to and how to handle rejection.
Not on a DM.
I was gonna say, I feel like it's sort of it's an avoidant maneuver.
It's not effective. I feel like
non-fun. Wait,
person and talk to people. Like you have to go in person and approach people and talk to people like they're normal people, right? Don't put any pressure on them.
The fact that you're not sending your dick is going to put you way above their other DMs. I'm just saying right now.
It works.
DMing not building that experience, right? Like going in person and facing somebody face to face and dealing with that kind of like awkwardness, that is giving you the experience that you need.
Yeah, like connection depends on context, and just DMing people is not going to build context. What you need to do is deprioritize finding a relationship as your goal. You need to get out there. You have to do the things that you like doing. And then once you're inside of a space where you are doing what you enjoy, look around. See the women that are there doing what you're also doing. You are now in a context where you can build real connection. You have something to build off of. And that's where you have to demonstrate the bravery that I think is the kernel of what Wick was trying to say. Put yourself out there, but put yourself out there in a context that's meaningful to you, that will create a connection that will then become meaningful as well.
Yeah,
I've got to take off. So let me just. I've got to take off, so let me just hop in here. Here's the actual best advice you will hear tonight, no matter what happens after I leave. Just transition. You will get so many dudes who will come after you. Won't be a problem.
Have you considered getting a vagina?
Ironically, that will work. You will get a lot of girls and dudes. And
don't do that.
Many different kinds of people. I also got a bounce. I did not realize it was 6:15, but I had fun.
I'm glad
Thank
you had fun.
everyone.
Thanks for coming, gang.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Before I go to, I just want to ask, non-fun, do you have like a specific type, or is it like you're just open? I'm just curious.
I don't. I have preferences.
What's your preference? Is your preference more? Hold on.
Non-
Is your preference more Charlie? Is your preference more Mooncake? Your preference more Stardust? What are you looking at?
Stop objectifying these
Okay,
women.
so I'm definitely not going to answer it.
You said only women. What
is
am I your
that way.
preference?
Wait,
Non-fun?
Wait, I have to
you
clear
want to go on
something
a
up.
date?
Okay, actually,
I have to
it's
clear
soy
something up
Phil.
for non-fun.
Okay.
To be clear, non-fun. I guarantee you, knowing who you are, how you talk, and what you're interested in, right now you're worried about, oh, I don't have a girlfriend. These people that you're DMing, I know it's a joke, or you're like replying to on Twitter. I 1000% promise you, the instant that you now have the option to choose, and this will happen to you eventually, you will realize, holy fucking shit, these people are vapid and I do not enjoy our conversations. And then you'll realize that this idea of achieving a girlfriend meant a lot less than finding someone you enjoyed being around, which is actually the hard part of finding a wife in a relationship. Right now, you're worried about a step that eventually you will never care about.
Yeah, like right now your standards are sitting at the 3 W's, right? Warm, wet, and willing. And you are worth more than
Jesus
that,
Christ.
even
to be
out
fair
now.
to non-fon,
My
let's be
standards
fair to
aren't that
non-fon.
low, I don't think.
Yeah, he hasn't
Lactoid in
actually
the chat,
gone into
warm
detail.
apparently is not
Oh
one
my
of his
God.
criteria, so he can talk about that more. But,
No, but
but no.
non-fon hasn't really gone into detail about like what he wants, what he's really tried. Like,
Yeah.
we're kind of
Well, I think he's-
prescribing or projecting onto him, right? So
Well, because he's kind of stayed quiet because I think he's trying not to limit his pool at this point by
And
saying
I
anything
talk to
too
non-fon,
specific.
and I know what
It's-
non-fon talks about and what he's interested in, and I know what kind of women.
So why haven't
I
you
wouldn't
set
be
him
able to
up?
pick the perfect women for it because I don't
You're
know.
a bad
I
friend.
actually, first of all, just now you gave me the idea of like in the past hour, I know a lot of people that like a lot of the stuff that non-fon does, specifically the
Hook a
Shrimp Welfare
brother
Project,
up.
and I'm gonna throw
He
him in
did.
the
He
Discord.
said,
Yeah,
he said
good.
join the Discord.
I just want to
But
make
no,
sure. I
I-
want to look. I like to get commitments, and I like to make sure they're clear, so people are more
Okay.
likely to fall.
That's my
through on
action
them.
item. It's on my calendar right now. I'm
Yeah,
gonna throw
something
him in there.
Rabid said. Well, something Rabid said that was kind of my small issue with the like just go to LARP and get pussy advice was like what Rabid said kind of clues into what I would critique that with, which is one of the ways that makes it really hard to both check the safety box and make a woman feel like a lady is when your express intent to be in the context that you're in is to fuck, because you're either going to seem really predatory, which isn't going to check the safety box, or you're going to seem really desperate, which isn't going to check the making them feel like a lady in front of like a man with some assertive presence box. And so I think Rabid's 100% that the woman thing will come more naturally if you just get into spaces where you care for yourself a little bit and get into spaces where you feel comfortable and you feel powerful and you feel like you have something to offer, like you mentioned before, because your intelligence and your special interest is something to offer. Like it's enough, 100%. I've seen that work a million times.
Mooncake,
Sure.
thank you
Bye,
for
Mooncake.
coming by.
course.
I hope. She
But yeah,
has
you just need to get into spaces where you know, like you feel confident that in this space, what I have to offer is valued. And you're going to see your own willingness to engage with women change. You're going to see their responses to you change. And you might not be able to put your finger on why right away, but it's going to be because you're just coming in more secure in the fact that you have something to offer. And that can check the make them feel like a lady box. Because they're like, okay, this guy's got a presence. He's got an assertiveness. He's got something he's bringing to the conversation.
Can I ask
No,
you guys
that's the
it's
cart
a
before
totally
the horse, I
unrelated
think.
question, but I want your advice on this. Especially the streamers here in the room, right? Would it be better to just have this continue to go like and just roll directly into the Andrew Wilson segment, or should I end this stream and set a whole new stream for the next segment, which is better?
Probably a whole new stream, because otherwise you're gonna have like a 6-hour stream with 2 completely different topics tied together.
True.
I always cut those up when I re-upload them.
Yeah, that's probably
And
true.
if you have to dump the VOD, do you want to
So,
lose everything?
what we're going to do then is I'm going to end the show for now. But gang, at about 10:50, 10:45, I'm going to go live again. And we'll be in fighting the Christian nationalist mode, okay? So I
Bring a
want to
pickle jar.
thank everyone for coming and being here. And wish me luck tonight. I think it'll go well, but you never know, okay?
Whenever he says a noun, ask him to define it.
He does do that a lot, doesn't he?
You had a rough time with him, didn't you?
And then after he
Yeah,
answers
well,
your
fine,
question,
bro.
immediately ask another question so he can never get a point out without you saying, wait, you haven't answered my question yet.
And then if
Well,
he
maybe you
asks
just
you
answered
your
his
definition,
question, and
say
then-
it's not my job to answer the question.
Yeah.
Look,
Not
I
until
mean,
you answer
you
mine and then
guys are doing
immediately
too
ask
much to
another
Andrew.
question.
Listen, you guys are doing too much to Andrew, man. Just answer
brought
the
it on
question and
himself.
keep it moving.
Look,
Yeah.
Answer the
Because then he will
question.
just ask another one
go ahead,
immediately
Stardust.
about
Go ahead,
that
Stardust.
answer.
Him to name every single thing that ask him to name like 10 Christian nationalists who've ever done something positive or invented something for society. Do that. Okay?
Well, that's a poor argument. He would just say that objectively.
we-
It wouldn't
oh my
matter
God,
if
look
someone had
right at him,
accomplished
dude.
it or not. Like you'd have to argue the merits of the
well,
conversation.
I'm
He
not-
would
we're
cook that.
We're talking about his debate tactics. So
Yeah.
We're
Well,
making
we'll
fun
see.
of them.
We're very aware that these are bad argument tactics. It's just
Yeah, we
really
know.
You
annoying.
guys,
And
you
we- and
guys
we
are
like to
doing
do that
Andrew
to him.
too
KO
dirty,
Dave,
bro.
though.
You guys are.
Andrew did it
I'll
to
say
himself
this.
by
I'll say
speaking.
this. Any
Andrew.
man
Go ahead.
who
Fun.
challenges me publicly to a boxing match, offers me money to do it, and then backs out like a pussy is not someone I respect.
You,
Oh, you're
you
the
should
one
bring
who's supposed
KO
to box?
Dave in
Yeah,
for like 30 seconds.
$20,000.
out,
He
so.
said $20,000 to go 3 rounds with him in a ring. I said, okay, June 28th. I gave him a date. I said he got to pick the venue. He ghosted me, bro. Didn't say shit.
Because his doctor gave him an X-ray of his lungs, and he's like,
Yeah, on that last panel, that guy that said he'd train him said that he's the best trainer ever, but I don't know if I can believe him when he can't even get his fighter to enter the ring. That seems like the minimum stakes.
At the end of the day, this whole debate tonight is coming about because me and Eucharist utterly destroyed his little, I guess, underlings, minions, whatever you want to call them. I mean, it wasn't even close. It was probably the clearest W I've ever taken in the debate space. And so I guess he has to like regain their honor. But the problem with Christian nationalism is there's no good examples of it working, right? Ever in history, right?
Well, has it ever truly been implemented?
Yes.
Not
Yes.
in its purest form.
Yes. Hold on. This is the thing.
was a
This is
real
the thing,
question.
and I'll give you guys a little bit of a sneak peek. Okay, I'm gonna read you a quote. Okay, in 1942, B.J. Vorster declared this. He said, "We stand for Christian nationalism, which is an ally of National Socialism. You can call this anti-democratic principle dictatorship if you wish. In Italy, it is called fascism. In Germany, National Socialism. And in South Africa, Christian nationalism. And this man is a man who would later go on to become the prime minister of apartheid South Africa. South Africa, under apartheid, was a Christian nationalist nation." And this is just one example of how it is a dog shit ideology. But
Okay, but
We'll get
Wick,
into it.
South Africans that give Roman salutes, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're fascist backers.
That's true.
he calls himself fascist. They said they were. I don't know what to tell you, but
Good luck, Wick. We believe in you. Have
Yeah.
fun.
thank you.
I'm curious.
I think it
We'll
was
see.
fun. I appreciate being on the panel, Wick, and thank you for allowing me to come on and create chaos and
I
derail
always
as
like
usual.
you, Stardust. Anytime you want, but I gotta go. We're gonna end